2022, and it's the start of another working week. We are happy to be back on your radio sets and on your TV sets once again with Ghana's #1 morning show, the Happy Morning Show. Good morning to you, wherever you are watching us from. Good morning to you, wherever you are listening to us from. And once again, I would like to say a warm welcome to you as you join us on the Happy Morning Show today. Memo Bibia Akwaba Eba Happy 98.9 FM and ETV Ghana Anope na Jumedie no the Happy Morning Show. Over the weekend, no, in Sembebre and the sea, and what Jumedie way so no, we'll take a look at some of these issues and see where we are going as far as some of these decisions are concerned. Jumedie and dear, Yasha see dear Mamenka will say we are also live on Nizem 100.1 FM our Tamale, Nizem 95.1 FM our Bolga, na Jumedie way interactive into as the show progresses no, the phone lines no ebetuja senebeya, emerso selbe fair on Ghana Kasa, obetume affair. Also, Opesa join here with your thoughts on discussion. I have your show no so. Number no 02022 22067 02022 22067. It's you bet me a share na or send your messages. But you made no yes share no na you share with road safety tidbits ACP Victor Tando Baba Cancer or the road safety tidbits Ebe. Right after that, no, we'll get into the newspapers now. The headlines of the newspapers are Bremo na Yebe Bremo updates weather and also Ghana Meteorological Agency what they've brought us as far as next 24 hours whether no betiano yede ehunsem ebebremo COVID-19 updates Ghana Health Service in sema omudia ba FIA numbers no hono will bring you up to speed with some of these numbers. And also right after that, no, yebebremo social media trends. What is social media talking about? What's going on social media? What's the world talking about this morning on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also TikTok? Dear and Amoka, Yade Hunsem Yana Bebremo, Fatih Shaibu Ali Beba Cancer, or the Sansem Nina Ebebremo. After that, no, Yabebobu Sem no. Ghana is broke. Ghana is broke, and we would have to go to the IMF for a bailout. What does this mean? Now, what are the implications of this situation? Emma economy no. Adentina yeko IMF. We about the 17th time Ghana yeko IMF ako jisika yede show up your economy no. Eno hunsem nyina no yebedi hu nkomo ewo dwumedie no so anope nti stick and stay with us on the Happy Morning Show this morning because there were lots of interesting stuff to discuss this morning. Later on no editors ne baba be cancer in summer mabubu hu meka IMF asem Arise Ghana demonstration any other matters arising e okrum ha no ne nyina yebe discuss but ene big topic and a big discussion e was so ene IMF a President, I instructed Finance Minister say on share na on formally no on engage IMF senebeya on bet to me a balance of payment support. Ninyina no asia ne saying. Stick and stay with us on the Happy Morning Show this morning because we'll make sure say education no cut down as far as this particular topic is concerned. Sisi ani dia yabedani on kakra na yababaka ACP Victor Tando Beba Cancer or the road safety tidbits ebebre. ACP Victor Tando Abekansa or the road safety tidbits Ebebe. ACP Victor Tando retired. Bema kwaba eba Happy Morning Show no so anope.
Me Joseph Odofo.
ACP anope Jene Asia.
Yo me do wase. It's my form of Happy FM. Mama kwaba. Fina okiwi ya mukoyim. Mama kwaba. Se mo ba betu mutuma pa mudi ede bua mama yen mo ba betu as. Mekosasre. Okay, no ni we you have born in Subiem. Na onti na ni so enchiremo akwanhodo nyenen. Etiefo amuti dmedi anope me mo nyina chio mama chi adeshi. Edmo be say dmedi kesi so ewo Happy FM 98.9. Anope sakra kakra. Boss submission tiene nechi. And the second boss, Raymond Nyamado, and a FD energy. Or Children one of them. All my boys should only be Gilbert, Sefa Danko, Isaac Ade, Justice Nati, Obapa Fatih Shaibu Ali, Pastor Thomas, and a director, Kwame Damti. I'm sorry for the Americans on your dinner, Mamma the Pachemia Swan or Demo. See to train night to train, sir. I did back when BBM last year, can you who say? And ye name dear and then ye papa be name a yatum. It's a dumb dear and then a say fatter. See a retired priest for free bomb. Ye United Church and one to pay check by his grace. We are alive. I'm not Malacop for any that's so edited and cremo. That's when the Pahini echoes here, quite become saying, and that ye banswa, ye by the same. I was for any number of questions in Ano. Ye number of questions, tell of them, number of questions. Any a tibasco suti any a tipradium, a tabobo yem, any a tika and kitum the cakasim, I a number of questions. I no, I see a kind who say, Bribiamono, here at ye, sonko papa. So I said, a quani and I'm sono, a quani and I'm sono, and no me was so a dozen. Any pa and nam quan sono, a dozen. That's so, Opiana Dria or the num a quanaso. The tribunal namwa, which ye no may be a, which I am fair, we will need so in ye. Significant destiny, a fellow crime. Or do quite film. Now, what tone of you know? I feel any says uncle, so sign, no, I teach us and a cheat. She's away yet a year power lot of corners. Now, in Pino speed in the elder, ye cheat beyond any pomity sale, Omodo beto and cruel. Omodo beto home, Omodo beto or home, papa. And the BBM Yanama, winning in an Oma and fire franca, a shankano. Yen kosunya afiye papa yen sa gisi ebitimi aboye ye ade ba ko so a ana eno so eha ense ehwen mienu eko na omina ni chefa ko na ba kwa na bi se o san hwen odi anim no ho make a single carriage way se ni o san hwen ho no o san ho wie kura na ba ko so afrachie no so etwa so wonwanim unim de ekoso ada na driver ni wonto obu ase na ba ko a wadi kan o san hwe no wi a na so hu se kwan da ho kama o so afei kwako we e de akonhye bai na o twa wi e de akonhye bai ena ni odi manim no e so kontem no one contempt no atonable. Oh, a cobasa, nothing, whom yes, okay. Obi Edwin a son share be home. O son whom ye. Also, why watching so also son sashi and chrono. After BBC, ya, wishing you do any more good share back where I said contempt. One contempt. Na ade na che enuma be mu na wusua ehyen nika o master no hwan o che o se ba ehyen di wani no sa ehyen bi mu a leso nsa ho wie ya o so ko na o master jiro en o master no wan show kwampa daddy wan show kwampa ehyen di wani mu no a wan na di so o sa obi hu no ba ni sa ehyen no wie wo sa ehyen no wie no na fe wu wani mu ese kwan ne da ho a answer and also what Francis said, Oko. Sunny, that's why you say, now we sound now so seeing the missile. BBC, a young form so. Well, and what causes are acquainted. What was acquainted? Let's have the driver's mental to women and to us. Master Cosuna just go more to whom as a boy, no much of the young come home. We are being kind of central university chief driver. Bema, chairman pay. We will do cutting our provincial bank. Also, watching and not paying. Penny Chief Asari, I then tell down for her. Penny, I salute you this morning. May God bless you. Penny Ajalto, Ashonman. Boss, good morning, sir. We say we know be away. Get the MES which are for next year. It is a make kind of say. Car is who away anymore. There are processes we talked about it several times. And yes, also reality much made us no pro, which is now there be. I find them episode start sharing one. so who say who wenim tin who wenim and so be sa hye ho na so di na ti dia who wenim emra no empedesa so to bo ase na who wenim tin ka bia ni wa eba aso wa hwe odradi mirom wachi so kama enya dia obi esa wo ho enya dia obi esa wo ho na fe no wayi acheche kwan ka nya traffic light indicator no left one no driver hold no wayi na fe wabo aben ase no odu anim no se misa ho aben na wo bo no che se onto no base no nko di fa so ma wo kwan na fe osan no wosan ho wi a na fe wayi kanea na ewo oni fa so passenger side no wayi no so no wasa hwe driving mirror te ne wosan ho no wode ne nkem eti se yana na fe wo frase na wosan ho kama wosan ho wi a afa odum traffic light as what be do line ho pepepe na woko yemfa ho pre ewu enye se ne pentem eda kai amisan ho ntem na se ba ku meni mo ba ede na eka so ede na pamo ede pa na epa bi du wati gidigidi a che se wo san hye no a eno se wo hwe kwa so e na mo a na kure ni ya me tuneson so dia for fi papa dia for fi pa na enkanye free so be ko na traffic na bo apisi wani mo na ka chi odi line no na free na o de ko eti BBC ya na ka fa so pe no sebi bibisa nyansa be pa na ke wo BBC ya ke nyansa be na wo ta a ogura wentem na epi ebisafo mama m pre ho mfie ho nkoto ha mo yesi nyina yem pai bonu se bibia no ko ba bia drive safely and arrive safely and stay safely. Fisheno, abutrem, and Tubasium, the Kudrasum Vim. That's a name recatuno. Them affiye. The Becoswase. Say happy from Podomati de Toide. The Becosa Kaka and Ubribiana. The Lord requiring them so. Or how also. And if I shall see the brave or so. And who did I see the now tie instructions. Now the Kaka one. Woke up a cross medium. Obaswa, and only in Bible. You're rebel to me and so of you. Kita won't say. It to me, and Kita and Sanya say, you're no more. A baby, yes, then you bet me see a quenchia. I know. Or don't forget, only any na bosumin so ye wo mu duma pa biara etie ni so no ejanuma nye atom ene nshira eframan
ACP yada asese anope ode road safety tidbits abe ewo dwumedie no so anope nyamisha also ACP Victor Tando retired and etinka ewo dwumedie no so na ACP ade lessons kaka ebre on how to stay safe in the course of the week, and today we are road user making sure say in some ACP akano odebeye juma na making sure say as much as possible no you arrive alive and no the message ya de bro anope ewo jumedie no so ya beda ne kaka na ya babaka ma introduce me co-pilots ewo jumedie no so na the headlines of the newspapers abram. Headlines of the newspapers and so the insema newspapers no at the abano pay no the nina ebepremo on the Happy Morning Show. We are live on Happy 98.9 FM. We're also live on ETV Ghana. Fati Shaibu Ali abekansa no pay obeboame na yede jumedie no abramo. Fati mema kwaba eba Happy Morning Show so no pay. Samuel Sifa Dankwa also abekamensa no pay the headlines of the newspapers and other parts of the show no ebepremo. Sifa mema kwaba.
Right, Midas.
No, I don't know why bombs are.
Then I have bombs.
The generic atmosphere is not that yet.
I'm not making a bomb.
Now Ghana is broke, no come.
Say if Ghana is broke,
are you broke?
Philosophy will tell you that Simple logic. If your country is broke, continue.
You're also broke. Fatty, so logic ni apply more now.
But this already have been
I've always been broke. Whether there is COVID, whether there is Ukraine, Russia war, whatever.
Just say what the
broke no.
you broke self-inflicted and I say
external
mismanagement.
External factors.
Now, where shows any mismanagement there?
Oh no.
I am mismanagement.
External
factors.
Sifa, financial opinion.
Yes, just a Chronicle double cratanum and the Asia no pay. Banner headline or say why Ghana is seeking IMF support. COVID-19, Russia-Ukraine war affected economic growth after buffers had been expended. Buffers way. Okay, anyway, yeah, into us way. Mahama endorses the Akufo-Addo's IMF decision as Abida's competitors to debate. Kwan CEO to Ochehini stay away from sold Akim Ebuakwa lands and also Ewoho Akoi or Koko papa. Yemungrum. Roxanne Bukari calls on Akufo-Addo to reshuffle cabinet and also Ewoho. Other stories near Tasimanso RC Primary School grateful to BTAC and friends. Other stories, War Chronicle double cratanum and ano power betimi akenkan. Government planning to take away your rights to fresh water resources. Autumn's government alerts Nigerians and also most Nigerians are confused on who to elect due to hunger. Pastor Giwa and on this same way to Eja. Avedakpa inaugurates committee to spearhead development and no the center spread of the Chronicle double cratanum and Anopa Drabing faces opposition from Konongo over directives not to accord late chief with royal courtesies and also Ewoho and the MD chat on TikTok. TikTok is not TikTok is not the only avenue for songs for song promotion for Lenuna and it is asking me to your Chronicles the world craft and not find some bit me nyebi akenkan ewo mu no.
Yeah, find the new crusading guide and Twaso. COVID and war push government to IMF, Information Minister explains. NLA launches Sunday as a that draw. I'm overwhelmed by government projects in Ashanti region. M&E boss Ena Eka employ lawyers at MMDAs to curb contract procurement breaches. And Priso MP Ena Eka Afoteagbo comments Top Kings Limited over proposed to vet establishment in Nungwa. KGL Group host Nigeria Lottery Regulatory Commission CEO Mr. Lanre Bajabiamila and no Honum. So and other stories have been essay. Sydney floods, tens of thousands told to evacuate. Taiwan, China attack not imminent, but US watching closely, says Jen Milley and no Honum. So and let's be vigilant against COVID-19. ECOWAS chairman and ECA withdraw e-levy if you are seeking IMF bailout. Arise Ghana to government. Nigeria rejects Ukraine online degrees. It's not fair. Dozens of Nigerians freed from church awaiting second coming in Ondo. Saso and a Gambia bans all timber export to combat rose root smuggling. Way air stories are for the new crusading guide. Ubenyebi Akai.
Daily Graphic Anope say Ghana needs righteousness, not churches and leaders. Apostle Eric Nyamiche, a chairman of the Church of Pentecost, and this assembly Atuja. ECOWAS chair, president ends tenure. Guinea-Bissau takes over. IMF intervention, government upbeat about economic stability. Kojo Opon Kruma and this assembly Atuja. Still, our Ghanaian Times also Dr. Ibn Chambers withdraws as ECOWAS envoy to Guinea. Dozens of Nigerians freed from church. Now, Daily Graphic Anope or say hydrological authority must be made game changer and also a feature Ubetume Akai our Daily Graphic more Anope. Other stories paper no about say enact bylaws against child domestic work. NGOs urge assemblies. Let's take second look at child panels. Dr. Edu Jemfi Now, I was strengthen MPP to break the 8. And only Asema Stephen and team, and also Ode Tuja. Engage lawyers for MMDAs to curb contract procurement breaches in Price MP. This week in Parliament, Interior Minister to brief House on Ghana card. Let's be security conscious as a nation. Methodist Bishop. Odumasi farmers receive 160,000 cashew seedlings. Na ene okopiemo ewa middle spread of the graphic. I say, graphic others partner Ada Traditional Council for 2022 Asafo Tufiami Festival. Stratcom Africa Garden and Flower Show Chalks 10. Establish academic centers in all medical training institutions. And a special pullout ewa daily graphic more. Share in sema special pullouts no edeba say leveraging US-Ghana relations for growth and prosperity. Obehu picture of President Joe Biden and the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Other stories has US-Ghana trade relations remain strong. US ambassador to Ghana. And our final story has US companies in Ghana thriving well under COVID-19. We and the stories on the daily graphic. Adiaba.
U.S. companies in Ghana thriving well under COVID-19.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Let's continue. Ghanaian Times, the Obokrata and Yade Twaso. President ends role as ECOWAS chair, hands over to President of Guinea-Bissau. President of the story comes with the picture of President Akufo-Addo presenting the mantle to President Umaru Sissoco Embalo. Ghana Armed Forces warns public against sale use of military pattern uniforms, accoutrements without permit. World Bank lauds Ghana for Gamma project. And Ingra Ghanaian Times, the Obokratanum and Anopeo say COP granted bail over recruitment scam. Court finds salesperson 36,000 Ghana cedis for stealing. And also dozens freed from church awaiting second coming. Libya protesters storm parliament building. And also a story say what Ghanaian Times, the Obokrata and Minano pay. Well, okay, government invest 2.7 billion Ghana cedis in planting for food and jobs in last 5 years of implementation. A Greek minister. And this is same way to a job. Now more people cassava fufu boost immune system, lowers blood pressure, steady. Vinade atu eja enano pay so any bunch fufu. GHS takes delivery of 139,000 maternal child health record books. Top Kings donate 200,000 Ghana cedis towards Nungwa Klejo Festival. Mahama dismissed Finance Minister for supervising collapse economy. And also other stories are offer Ghanaian Times. The Obokrata and Abitimi and Wanyabi Akenkanye. Stakeholders charged to find solutions to plastic waste problem. Frafraha orphanage pupils go through sensitization program on COVID-19 pandemic. GES holds staff Deba business activation fair in Accra. A stories are offer a Ghanaian Times the Obokrata and Anopaya Obetimi Akenkan Ewumu.
Guide. Motorway Runabout project starts September. My godfather wanted to sleep with me. KGL hosts Nigeria lottery regulator. Over 100 countries run to IMF. Say Oko paper ni more stories have been say Nana cut sword for Hini Valley rail line. Other stories are what paper ni more anope ube to me any be akai any Abubloshi a year after relocation. Ube to me akai be. Please, as a children among 77 kept in Nigeria church for rapture. Bus falls into ravine in Pakistan, killing 19. North Korea warns of an Asian NATO. Libyan protesters storm parliament building. Strong earthquake kills 5 in Iran. Sydney flood forced thousands to leave homes. So and our NDC MPs clash with Deputy General Secretary. Ministry of Health threatens to discharge cured mental health patient. And also me apebi akai. So and Africa must leverage on NAFTA to improve trade. No shady slop in oil sale. To and eka. Abanga Farms, Namibia's Meatco partner. Ewo honum ABL GH1 Premier Chills. Way air stories are offer the Daily Guider. Ubenye bi akain.
Daily Statesman and Opay say, increased global crisis pushes Ghana to IMF. Information Minister assures government will safeguard national interest. Gifty Ohene Kunedu lauds government for projects in Ashanti region. Bam cautions SOEs on financial reports. Krobia Asante, let's have confidence in PP government. Ramsayer, I represent NPP grassroots interest. Way air stories and Opay Daily Statesman Ediaba.
Economic Times. The Bokrata and when the air twice or say rising inflation, BOG calls for resilient and thriving agri sector. And from Ghanaian Times, Agric Minister said we invested and as our manner invested 2.7 billion Ghana cedis into planting for food and jobs. Inti Asim should be directed to the Agric Minister. PURC extends announcement date of new utility tariffs by 2 weeks. The BOG needs help in the war on inflation. We stories are a war. Economic Times, the Bokrata, and in the IMF program, mode answers frequently asked questions as government starts formal engagement on Wednesday. Interest payments to rise further as cost of borrowing increases. We are not charging e-levy on merchant accounts. Ghana Revenue Authority and its assembly are to AJA. So don't link your Ghana card to your bank account via social media link. Bank of Ghana warns. Economic Times Q&A with Alex Mode on IMF program and also on 2PBB on the IMF program now. It was SNIT to roll out programs to boost pension contribution. When stories are offered the Economic Times, the
custodian, Asabi wants debate with Chairman Hopefuls. Court orders substituted service on Tarikon and Morris for contempt. Fallout from global crisis, Ghana others seek IMF bailout. Argentina economy minister quits over economic crisis. Way air stories are over custodian ubenye bi akai.
My final paper no pay the Finder newspaper. The Finder no pay say end of 2019 economy not IMF bound. COVID-19 Russia-Ukraine war triggered crisis. E-levy is not charged on merchant accounts. GRA. NLA launches Sunday ASEDA draw. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and wife bid farewell to former First Lady of Ghana. We air stories and pay the Finder Ediaba.
Daily analyst, double crater, a chat to Ekutamie. Churches don't change nations. Only righteousness brings change. Mason Timubio. Pentecost Chair declares, churches don't change nations. Only righteousness brings change. The story comes with a picture of Apostle Eric Nyamiche, chairman of the Pentecost Church of Ghana.
When you say Pentecost Church, in recent times, whereas in the last 3 years, most churches see any other institution or grammar.
Yes, they've been embarking on another project.
But
and you're prison in the world.
Churches.
Yeah, they've built churches.
In the last 3 or 5
years.
Yes. And on say cathedral but so far no omo donate sika kese
200,000 Anna.
There be 700,000 Ghana cedis. On say so far no omo top chart no.
NPP moves to declare Dome Kwabenya seat vacant. Hajj board apologizes over challenges. The story comes with a picture of Sheikh Isaac Kwei, Hajj board chairman. Judiciary not beyond criticism. There is room for improvement. Ghana Bar Association. And in this we are to judge. The story comes with a picture of Yahweh Champon Boafo, national president of Ghana Bar Association. When the stories are for daily analyst, the Bokrata and Nanopaya,
Republic Press employ lawyers at MMDAs to curb contract procurement breaches in Prince MP. NDC went to IMF because of mismanagement. We are going because of a pandemic. Afenyomakin ene kasasem way. Ghana needs Rastafarian president to save the country. Ja Rastafari, Raskuku ena eka. NPP NDC trade blames over IMF move. Kane Japan warns NPP, says party can't break the 8 with IMF squad. Osafuma for Bex Ashantis and no Ewo Honum. So and Business and Financial Times I say the WTO is back. Are you prepared to change or reacting to it? And no Ewo Honum. The return of IMF, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And also what paper name so and 25% of SNIT contributors earn up to 500 cedis. Government draw down 10 billion cedis from Bank of Ghana in first quarter. So and less than 1% of GDP spent on social protection. We air stories are offer the Business and Financial Times are ubenyebi akai.
Yen so ne yanko je website so anope na oko happyghana.com anope a stories are obetumi akan ebi enie. Maiden PELT Awards see full list of winners at Public Enterprise Awards. TDC crowned best SOE at Maiden PELT Awards. Most SOEs fundamentally not accountable, government to go after them. Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia. Forget 2024 if you go to IMF, Kennedy Agyapong tells NPP. Now, also our happyghana.com and say over 100 countries request for IMF bailout. Wickedness of NDC in Parliament has forced Akufo-Addo government to seek IMF. Razak Kojo Poku writes, we are going to IMF because of pandemic. NDC went because of mismanagement. Afenyo Markin. Ghana is going to IMF because NDC frustrated government by delaying passing of e-levy, Gabi Ochredako, and a president of ECOWAS to mark end of tenure in 61st ordinary session. When you know a stories are your website happyghana.com and opia obetumi akai.
Citynewsroom.com yeah website at the air twice so Ameripa plant relocation contract to be brought to Parliament Napo and then this assembly Atuja. Let's collaborate to fight terrorism. Akufo-Addo to ECOWAS leaders and also our home. Stop disposing refuse into drains of Obuasi MCE to residents. IMF team arrives in Ghana Wednesday to begin bailout talks with government. Government IMF bailout decision is a tragic mistake. TUC and this assembly to other stories near fuel prices to go up as NP announces restoration of UPPF margin. Dr. Eben Chambers withdraws as ECOWAS envoy to Guinea. ECOWAS to elect new chairman and Omaya did that. Will refund monies to Muslims we couldn't fly to Mecca, Hajj board, and a disaster to job. Oforiatta, a fine private businessman, but failed as finance minister. Kwaku Hagan. You know, this assembly Atuja. It's ridiculous for MPP to seek equalization with IMF bailout. Sami Jamfi and also Eka Sasim with them. They try to shake up your government, fire Oforiatta and Deadwood ministers. Mahama to Akufo-Addo.
Yako Google News, councillors operating without license are charlatans. And no Ewo Honum tear gas ma arise Ghana protest and no ACA. So and Nigerians on social media mock Ghana's decision to go to IMF. Tourism Ministry working towards passage of Homeland Return Bill and also a story oko Google News and Opeya Ubenyebi Akai.
Yanko CNN World News na ekopiemo ewo CNN.com and opia stories ewaha ebi enye. Hong Kong said miracle needed to find more survivors from ship sank in Typhoon Chaba. China just found one. Ninyina ensema ewaha. Deep in Ukrainian forest, the group of volunteers wait as Russia creeps closer. Palestinians to let US examine bullets that killed journalist Sharim Abu Khaleh. Sharim Abu Akleh, and only Edia Ewoho. Russia's war in Ukraine. At least 3 killed in Copenhagen mall shooting, police say. Ice avalanche kills 6 in Italy. Yakopiemo Ewo Ukraine seller say Ukrainian forces withdraw from Lysychansk, their last holdout in key region. A leader for all Israelis, Yair Lapid takes over as caretaker prime minister. How Erdogan's Turkey became NATO's wild card. Oil producers usually tame soaring prices by turning on taps. Here is why they may not work this time. Nina ASMA Ewa BPMO El Africa say protesters stormed Libya's Eastern Parliament building in Tobruk. Local media reports. Sudan security forces skirmish with demonstrators after protest deaths. Na Otuaso Ewo CNN News CNN.com I'll say EU agrees rule to tame Wild West crypto market. China's economy just had its best month since February. Enormous chocolate factory shuts over salmonella outbreak. And Amazon introduces new warehouse robot, says it's not replacing human workers. We in Sema CNN.com Diaba.
Yanko Reuters News. China cast giant shadow over emerging nations' chase for debt release. West African leaders lift economic and financial sanctions on Mali. At least 30 Nigerian soldiers killed in ambush after mine attack. Eno Ewo Honum. Crisis hits Ghana, changes its mind and turns to IMF for help. We air stories Awoko Reuters News Anopeya Ubenyebi Akai.
BBC.com. Gunman kills 3 in Danish shopping mall. Ukraine confirms Lishan captured by Russians. Indian imposter who took over a family of 41 years old. New giant water lily found hiding in plain sight. An isle with one dish to call its own. Other stories in Sri Lanka wants petrol stocks about to run dry. Ohio black man shot 60 times by police, video shows. And the MD chats on Djokovic sees off Van Riethoven to make last 8. Many stories are called BBC.com and Anopaya.
Time check, 16 minutes past 6. If you just tuned in, this is the Happy Morning Show, Ghana's #1 morning show. Now, if you just tuned in, so they are Oshare, our ETV Ghana, UTS, so they are OTA, our Happy 98.9 FM, our radio set. So, now, Jumedi Nuya at around 5:30 into the Biarano, and make a date with us at 5:30. Now, you'll find 7 in and Bremo. I'm also say about Bremo, Ghana Meteorological Agency, on weather updates for the next 24 hours. Na Ghana Meteo say anope okupiemu ewo Aflao, Accra, Kaswa, any Cape Coastal. It will be partly cloudy. Temperature expected to be around 23 degrees Celsius. And only weather update was for cities way. Still ewo Accra, Aflao, Kaswa, any Cape Coast. It would be sunny this afternoon until we're going to experience sunny intervals. Temperature expected to be in the region of 30 degrees Celsius. Late in the day, evening, it will be partly cloudy in Aflao, but in Accra, Kaswa, and Cape Coast, it will be cloudy and temperature is expected to be around 28 degrees Celsius. Okupiemu, Koforidia, Akimoda, Kumase, Obuasi, and Takwa, Anope, experience misty conditions into 60% mist, and as our cities way to me, I experienced it. Temperature would range between 21 and 23 degrees Celsius in the morning. Koforidia, Akimoda, Kumase, Obuasi, and Takwa. In the afternoon, some cities way experience sunny intervals. Into sunny intervals in most of these cities. Temperature is expected to be around 30 degrees Celsius, and they could go as low as 29 degrees Celsius. Ewo Obuasi and Takwa. Na Okopiemu Koforidia and Akimoda this evening. Experiences slight rain and temperature is expected to be around 27 degrees Celsius. Now, Kupiumo El Kumasi in the evening, it will be partly cloudy and the temperature is expected to be around 28 degrees Celsius. Obuasi and Takwa, slight rains this evening. Temperature expected to be around 27 degrees Celsius. Now, Kupiumo Ewo Boli, Damongo, Bogatanga, Nalerugu, Eniwa. It will be partly cloudy this morning. Temperature is expected to be between 23 and 24 degrees Celsius. Ewosa cities where Mabubo Mudin na Okupiemu Ewo Tamale, Boli, Damongo, Bogatanga, Nalerugu, anywhere in the afternoon. It will be partly cloudy. Ewo Boli, any Damongo. Temperature would be around 29 degrees Celsius. In Bogatanga, Nalerugu, and Wa, sunny intervals this afternoon. Temperature would be between 30 and 32 degrees Celsius. Now, in the evening, Tamale, Boli, Damongo, Bogatanga, Nalerugu, Enewa would have thunderstorm and rain. Into a 40% chance of rain and a bit to me Akupiemo Ewasa cities way, and the temperature would range between 26 and 28 degrees Celsius. Into rainy updates kakra. Mede Bremo from the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Mambo City Dia, and na PMO Elha. But generally, we are expecting, say, in the morning, would have some partly cloudy conditions and misty conditions as well. Now, in the afternoon, a few partly cloudy conditions in some parts of the country, but generally, it would be sunny this afternoon, and in the evening, experiencing partly cloudy conditions as well, and thunderstorm and rains in some parts of the country. In Timunshan and so, say, upia. Just make sure say umbrella and obefa and raincoats and obefa, just to be on the safe side. Making sure say also obon by on the road. Into way ni updates kakra Ghana Meteo Semi Fambramo.
If you are a record Ghana Health Service now at the COVID-19 update, at Waso. Active cases are 1,483. Confirmed cases are 166,546. New cases are 149. Deaths are 1,452. Recoveries and discharge are 163,611. Your vaccination drive now. Total vaccine doses administered a year 17,409,005. Sa we as at 30th June 2022. If you want to man na ebeko straight to social media na yako akofa trend abra etefo ene ashafo. Kennedy Japan air trendy na the member of parliament for Ascent Central Kennedy Japan and Wakase, the new patriotic party on Wankasane party ebe lusu 2024 general elections if enhyehyɛ amudi gu akwam so mo kɔ IMF enu mo akokasa afa bailout hono omo etumi emani bemwa na ose on wankasa no presidential hopeful say MPP for echo primaries na fe no omo koto abama ne say ono ena ebeye omo flag bearer na omuyina ose opeso ye on wankasa no president. Now I'll say if the MPP goes to IMF, it will just be handing over power to the NDC without a contest. Now I can say MPP particularly on Wankasano making noise against the NDC and John Dramani Mahama's government when they went to the IMF. That because NDC mismanaged the economy, the reason why they always go to the IMF for bailouts. Or say that time asemo no kra okan no muma yenhwe video no na entie de okan no.
Going to IMF. Trust me. You're sitting here and you are smiling. IMF, what are we going to say again? Somebody texted me, don't say anything about IMF. Me, I shouldn't say anything about IMF. I will say it. I will say it. Going into IMF is just like handing over power to NDC without a contest, straight away. Because the noise we made, and I chew my own words back when I said NDC went to IMF because of mismanagement of the party, the government, or the economy. So if MPP is going to IMF, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? So, breaking the eight is going to be tough. You cannot use the face of those who took us to IMF to break the eight. They don't work. My message to you is simple. You cannot read my lips, and I'm not scared of anybody in the party. I will tell you the gospel truth. It's the gospel truth. Those who take you to IMF cannot, their same face cannot break the eight. In Latin it says, verbum sapienti satis est. A word to the wise is enough. I'm very, very sad today when I saw the publication that we are going to IMF. You know, that is what Mahama was praying for. He's gotten his wish. It will not be easy. It will take hard work. It will take hard work. So we should brace ourselves that there's a task ahead of us. Therefore, it's only unity that will let us sail through this breaking the eight. Initially, I gave.
And the Honorable say gospel truth and all catch no. Comment abano ebi any. Rexford K say no comment. Kelvin say I love this man. He will not look into your face and lie to you. Kof Ano say damage control speech. I like the part. I am chewing my words back. He can't swallow it back though. Barry essay indirect message to Baumia. Those who took us to IMF can't break the eight. Shogun say your man won J himself for inside. Kwame say Charlie, this guy got nerves. The only truthful politician left. Low key, I wish to witness a country under Canada, Japan. LOL. Nana say, in times like these, see what he's interested in, breaking the eight. What happened to making life bearable for Ghanaians? Blush essay, Bosu they campaign for in body bidato. If you want to man na call Frank ano Dompre. Na ono a majority chief whip. And outside to ye MP4 in Sawama Dwedre. Na Frank ano Dompre and mount a strong defense for government over decision to go to IMF. According to him, no say half of the world is asking for assistance from the IMF, and this is not peculiar to Ghana. And the Odessa tweet no ebetu jano and lawyer Kakabo eko commente ewase. Ti your commente wase na odi block and odi na real ho eba production page ebe soon yes. Na as I tweet in the buy and comment aba no ebi any. Dini say those countries are making judicious use of loans already taken. Ghana cannot even account for the COVID funds. Philip Sowa ought to say, when did you guys realize that? Efia Kwansuma say, couldn't Ghana be part of the half that was seeking IMF assistance? Just asking. Kwame say, you still get Muff be here defending. I shy self for you. Dan say, you guys should just take the L, apologize to Ghanaians and let's move on. Haruna Al-Hassan essay, fair enough, but why were you guys proving stubborn when former President Mahama was telling you to go to the IMF? Awuku essay, just accept the fact that the government has failed us, and therefore, if going to IMF will bring us back on track, so be it. If you want to know, now, at the Salah Food Festival Intrazongo competition, no, it was so. Now, last one, kwata, X year, ewo Abeka over the weekend, you know. Now, Abeka Classic Ladies, and Omuwini ye, Omunya 80%, and Fadama, inshallah, won with 80%. Now, winners now, Omuwini from all the Intrazongo competitions, now, Yayani Ninano, Omo Edibesi eni, ewo Fadama, ewo Chief Imam, and I say pepe on the 16th of July. Na aseme besi wono enya asem ketua. She say wo ye aduane na wo Chief Imam e hwew. No hwew. E wo say otumu say wo say o me aduane na to forma etume epai. Moma yen hwe video no na yen hwe asema esiye ewo Abeka over the weekend.
Dada Rashid Al-Hassan no every Chief's Palace no ono so abepiem wa asaso na denya time
ye ba ha no mo ka kire se emutuo ne
agusi okay
eti I can see it o hwe the way of my Ghana share dia na esi ona for anwa jollof
jollof
yeah,
okay
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Afriki.
Oko.
Yeah.
Table no. Aso efe pa.
Papa.
Say e come de okra na. Oba be pie such a table so you can feel the aroma of royal aroma fortified rice.
Ka ye benya one winner Fadama yebenya one winner. Abeka yebenya one winner. Enti why and a year winner? A chassis Eddie free a year Abeka dia with 84 points. Yaba Abekano Omwa Omudi first. Aye Classic Ladies. Okay, it's no Classic Ladies. And I did first. Yaba Abeka. Okay, it's no na Classic Ladies. And no Omo Ena Omo Edi Kane. It's no with 80 points. With 80 points. Yako aya Fadama. Niodi Kani Aya Insha Allah. Insha Allah. Ena etie. Aha. Ntino. Are we done?
Entino Intrazongo Sala First competition no. Ye course so ewo Abeka over the weekend no. Ena yede abremo no na the kesi ankasa no ebesi ewo on the 16th of July ewo Fadama ehonum ena 20,000 cedis worth of prizes no yebeche ehonum ena nentwie kese no yebeche enti no mumma moni enda from na mre ne so a na mo aba be supporte mo zongo ewo honum aha ena yede trending issues no ebesi
30 minutes to top of the hour. Jumediano Air, the Happy Morning Show. We are live on Happy 98.9 FM. We are live on ETV Ghana. We are also live on Nizim 100.1 FM, our Tamale, and Nizim 95.1 FM, our Boga. Of course, show no air interactive until Betumia Johnny with your thoughts on 02022-22067, 02022-22067, and we'll be glad to share your messages with the rest of the world. And also, no, later on in the show, it will be a phone lines. No, Ghana Casambre, no, at around 7:25, no, it will be a phone lines. No, Senebaya, also be charging FAD, OGDA say. Ekosuye ana enkosuye or community na bibi ekosu wronga nanyina wo akwenya so betumi afre when we open the phone lines and share your thoughts with us. You share discussion ase anope e wo dwumedie no so ana e share from government, because on Friday the government at the Nkratabi Etuja na Information Ministry and etumi release a document and I release a statement efa Ghana any IMF Jumedia yepese yedi in the next couple of months. Enti sefa why ready there and finance anope statement Information Ministry release a government's decision to go to IMF.
Young court statement, that was released on the 1st of July. Na Republic Day na nyina ye tewa ye dwundwundwo man hu ye kaka bra ye nya Republic na ze ya ye die hu so nyu obi a hye ye so no saa da no a na Information Ministry edisa kratai eba ebetu dwa na ma menkyerechire mu kakra mfa nkyere amanfo na krata no nsam a amde tu dwa eni o say the President of the Republic Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has authorized Finance Minister Kanu-Ofori-Atta to commence formal engagements with the International Monetary Fund IMF, inviting the fund to support an economic program put together by the government of Ghana. This follows telephone conversation between the president and the IMF managing director, Ms. Kristalina Georgieva, conveying Ghana's decision to engage with the fund. At a meeting on June 30th, 2022, Cabinet indicated its support for the decision. The engagement with the IMF will seek to provide balance of payment support as part of broader efforts to quicken Ghana's build back in the face of challenges induced by COVID-19 pandemic and recently the Russia-Ukraine war. End. Signed by Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, Information Minister.
Well, we any statement buying at the buyer through the Information Ministry on Friday. Now, we a sharp U-turn to decision a buying had made earlier. Say, Enyadia Obeko IMF on any day. Now, to put the conversation in proper perspective and to let Ghanaians appreciate why Ghana's decision to go to IMF no abaye nsema obia eka ho ekasafa ho no said to me etie what happened months ago in the lead up to government U10 on Friday. First of all no Yebetie Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta in one of the town hall meetings oka say IMF enye the way to go ebano your situation you face as a nation no. Ken Ofori-Atta had been quite vocal on the fact we do not have to go to the IMF. Inti yentie die odi tuja na yembra.
But I can tell you, as my colleague, Deputy Minister said, we are not going to the IMF. Whatever we do, we are not. The consequences are there. We are a proud nation. We have the resources. We have the capacity. Don't let anybody tell you. Like when Joshua, Caleb, and 10 others went to spy on the promised land. And only 2 of them came to say that we can do it. And the 10 went around the community murmuring, you can't, da, 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 da. We are not people of short sight, you know. And we have to move on, okay? So let's think of us as who we are, a proud, strong people, the shining star of Africa, and we have the capacity to do what we want to do. If only we can speak that one language and ensure that we burden share in the issues ahead. Thank you very much.
Ken Ofori-Atta, Minister of Finance, Republic of Ghana, or the NSM Etuja, say, Musha Jumedia, a question of the IMF there, Maubia and Dada say, hot and I say to me, because ye nation, ye were resources and capacity, say, but to me, I will stand any shocks be Parliament, Yakopiemo our Parliament, so, and John Kuma, or your Deputy Finance Minister, or also Edinasem Etuja say, going to IMF there, and ya dear, I say to me, na for as long as NPP, ewa baimu there, and ya dear, I say Ghana, ya to me dear niche International Monetary Fund, IMF no. Yenti there, John Kuma, or also or the Tuja.
Mr. Speaker, the yield levy is also going to help with the fiscal consolidation effort and reduce the debt levels of our country. And that also means that we are going to see an improved economic ratings and not returning to the International Monetary Fund, which is the only solution our friends on the other side have always preferred. Why don't you go to the IMF? Go to the IMF. We have shown that we have alternatives to building the economy of this country without resorting to conditionalities that will be imposed on this country. We will not go to the IMF today. We will not go to IMF tomorrow, and we are not going as long as the NPP remains in power. Mr. Speaker, looking beyond the yield levy, government is further taking steps to cushion Ghanaians against the hardship caused as a result of the twin crisis of COVID-19 pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war. To this end, fuel prices are expected to go down by 1 cedi following the engagement between the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, the Bank of Ghana, and the Ministry of Finance. Government has also taken some haircut by cutting expenditures, discretionary expenditures up to 30%, 50% cut in fuel coupons for government appointees, imposing moratorium on importation of imported cars, among several others. Mr. Speaker, if anybody has the capacity to bring this nation back on its economic track, it is Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the NPP government. Mr. Speaker, we have done it before. In 2001, when our friends took us and left Ghana in Hippic, it was former President Kufuor and the NPP government that took this country's economy and built it into a lower middle income until 2009. By the time we gave it back to them, in 2017, when President Akufo-Addo came, they had taken us back to IMF. It is President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo who took us out of IMF and grew the economy of this country consistently from 2017 to 2019 on a GDP growth of 7%. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Eric Opoku was talking about our debt. The 222 billion extra debt on your 122 billion, half of it is the liabilities you left. Financial sector bailout alone was 21.5 billion. The IPPs, the doomsday problems you left, the take or pay contract, that alone was 30 billion. The exchange rate effect is about 48 billion. We also inherited undisbursed loans. When you add all that, you are over 100 billion of the 222 billion.
President Deputy Finance Minister John Kuma and also here in the submissioner or say Yanko IMF ne Yanko IMF for China for as long as NPP etina Bamudia and Yadia Ombeko IMF na or say the minority and the NDC solution are now more prophecy or more prophet and say Ghana Yanko IMF na Yadia Yedi any better IMF. Finally, the outspoken Kennedy Japan also on a show and an interview or our Asasi radio okay say aban bia obeko IMF bia na sa aban no asenema enkoyie na sa aban ne de ebia na ye be describe ne say e aban a abon yentie de Kennedy Japan also ode toja efa Ghana any decision to go to IMF to go or not to go no yentie de otikan ekan ya.
But if I hear some people argue that we should go to IMF, any government that goes to IMF has failed. And we haven't failed for the good works that we have done in this country. You should applaud Ken Ofori-Atta. He's not well, but still, yesterday I heard them in war. All in the name of the country. Please.
Enti we any asema Kennedy Japan also ode tuja efa Ghana say obi a obetumi akopie mu IMF bia no che say na saa nipa no we faili enti na ban ni de omu faili enti say to me bo finance minister Abaso because obo djuma ye papa yankotie leader and head of the economic management team vice president Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia also ewo onankasa ne take on IMF yenti de odetuja.
This is why we got into the IMF. You were spending too much relative to revenues, which is true. You were borrowing too much, which is true. Your external payments position has deteriorated, which is true. And so you ended up, your growth is reducing, which is true. So you ended up at the IMF, and the IMF would impose certain conditions, which is true. And if you don't do certain things right, the anchor will not hold, which is true. So I'm not quite sure what it is that is not true that I said. But I think, unfortunately, the supporters of this government and this government itself are very reluctant to admit the truth, even when it hits them in the face. Yeah.
True. Thank you about that.
Vice President Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia and also ordinary adventure aba afa IMF any aban bia ordinary ni betre IMF or state niema a drive NDC to the IMF somewhere in 2015 any almost reluctance to admit say niema enkoye na nyina oka honsem e wo sa interview no enti sa four voices na ye boy no na omunyina were not in agreement say aban etumi eko IMF ye ka say dear as at the 1st of July 2022 no and per press release a free information ministry abaya no as if abebo so bi mama no Ghana aye take steps to formally engage the IMF for balance of payment support. Sifa quickly no
Mame Sanko a year press release in this review. I said there be near uti ni nyina no besan tie no putting into proper perspective. President Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic, has authorized Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to commence formal engagements with the International Monetary Fund (IMF), inviting the fund to support an economic program put together by the government of Ghana. This follows a telephone conversation between the President and the IMF Managing Director, Kristalina Georgieva, conveying Ghana's decision to engage with the fund. At a meeting on June 30th, 2022, Cabinet indicated its support for the decision. The engagement with the IMF will seek to provide balance of payment support as part of a broader effort to quicken Ghana's build back in the face of challenges induced by COVID-19 and recently the Russian-Ukraine crisis. end. Signed by Kojo Opon Nkrumah.
Sefa Bedase, and since I released government has been trying so hard to justify the position I would take it, and on a couple of interviews yate from the information minister, it's quite clear say government position and they say government has been forced to the IMF by the COVID-19 pandemic and a Russia-Ukraine war compared to what they claim say mismanagement on the part of the NDC when John Dramani Mahama went to the IMF in 2015. Also, we've had claims say the minority in parliament also played a role in preventing government from raking in the needed revenue from e-levy and a bit to make a bridge gap between your revenue and your expenditure nina sema bobo and pay but sefa any fati mama share with fati yanina yeti nsem be your release na aba we've had some of the explanations about opinion for Ediaba. One kasa wajuncha on this particular development.
On a lighter note, in all my life, in all my learnings and experience, this particular situation that we have found ourselves in since last week, and now over the weekend, has taught me a lesson, say, as humans, no matter the situation, we need to guard our words very well. We need to guard our utterances. We need to choose our words, even if we want to convey a certain information out there. Nothing stopped the government from saying, oh, yeah, Uncle IMF, we are going to try our best to manage the economy and also sustain the economy or bring the economy where we want it to be on our own to Yanko IMF. There is nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Of course, I am sure a lot of Ghanaians would side with government to say, government, so say, on one say, ye be domestically to show up the economy any idea. Nothing wrong. It was the manner in which the communication went, the manner in which the defense and the reasons for not going to IMF went. We actually say, and I was so use political language for. There was no need for comparison. There was no need for throwing shade and jabs. You don't want to go to IMF because you have a plan. Fair enough. But in some way, the government is being mocked. Individuals in the government who made certain utterances are being mocked. Any idea? But then again, really, what is so wrong with going to the IMF? What is so wrong with going to the IMF? I don't see that it is so wrong to call IMF. No. Is that the conversation we need to have now? That you said you won't go to IMF, now you are going. Is that really the conversation? Do we even know what we are going to ask for as at now? We don't know. Do we know what we are going to ask for on the conditionalities? We don't know. Are we more interested in, you said you won't go, now you are going. NDC went and now MPP is going, so it's okay. Are we more interested in that than the real issues? IMF no yakwa, then a bit me ayama ye. A bit me ayama ye economy no. IMF no, is it like World Banker? Oh, ako jiska ko see hospital, ko jiska say what is it? Where is the education? Why are we going to the IMF? Yako IMF now, what are the benefits? What is the impact? We make it look like it is so negative to go to the IMF. Where is that negativity? Educate us on it. And for me, honestly, I think we are trivializing the issue. Yemana ye agro with. You said you won't go. Now you are going. You said this, and let's forget all that.
No, Fati,
and talk
Fati,
about the real impact.
No, Fati, Unim said.
The real impact. That thing that happened was simply politics,
yes,
honestly. Because they themselves, the government, and I said the people who were making those pronouncements, they know what IMF is. They know what IMF is about. What IMF program? That's our ending 2019. That's a 2021 IMF back. 2021, 2022. Where is the difference? Really?
No, but Fati, the reason why that matter cannot be trivialized, and they say.
We are trivializing it because you did rough.
No, also, a certain government rode on the back of somebody going to the IMF because of incompetence and mismanagement. Okay. And this same person has, since sometime last year, told government, say, the way you are going, you end up at the IMF. Beyond that, Abano Eyan Nyema, we are talking about debt sustainability issues. Today, as we speak, your debt could drew 391 billion. We are talking about exchange rate is dancing all over the place. Just say the CD, the worst performing currency in Africa as we speak. We are talking about public sector. We are talking about net export. Into a certain level, but to me, your friend is saying positive net export value now, and all other matters, you know. Now, all cultural say, and yes, they were incompetent, and you are being faced with the same challenges they possibly faced. But also, they are not incompetent, but we are competent government. And we know, say, this country is heavily divided about the political lines. Yeah, we practice political tribalism. And so, if you campaign on the back of that, for Ghanaians to believe that, indeed, you are coming to do better. And you are coming to take Ghana beyond the point where we would have to go back to ADA. Then clearly, we cannot throw that discussion away. We cannot rubbish the part where we say and also unko and also unko and afedia unko. Also unko, does it mean that you've also mismanaged or you also incompetent?
Not ask the question in all honesty. Are there the same situations under which those governments went to IMF?
Well, the same situations would be your balance of payment. So all of them went because of balance of payment issues.
What caused all that in that previous administration and this administration?
Structural challenges.
Why are we not looking at
the structural challenges have been there since.
The structural challenges
have been there.
Of course.
Because if we are going to the IMF for the 17th time, and it's always been on the back of balance of payments, just say, we have revenue shortfalls.
Yeah.
We are not generating enough revenue.
Yes.
And so we have to go to the World Bank for a cheaper loan with much more time to pay back. It means that key to what's your problem here, and they say we are not raising enough revenue. That has been one of the major problems, and of course, we've also seen to get money.
We have not been this particular government we've seen the Enyoma, this particular government, no omubenya revenue and kayenko IMF. It's simply the fact that a backfire.
For example,
you know the
no. You know the
IMF.
So, for example, I think
you know the IMF.
If Mumu feels,
and you know, I mean, let's cut them some slack. Quite honestly, I'm saying, let's not do political talk too much. I know that they are sembano.
See, it will be difficult. It will be difficult for us to delineate politics from a MPP going back to the IMF.
This
because
is
you
politics, yes, I understand.
Because you
but
see, everything was.
Very
I understand, Fancy, but everything was hinged on politics.
Sefa, hold your thoughts, Mami. Na menkwa humano so. There be say say anope and be and to give us proper perspective into discussions now you have said to me eji inchechemu from obia wabenepa obia ote economics ase into anope yane Professor John Kachi Ebekasa na umbre up to speed with exactly what we need to know about the International Monetary Fund and other matters arising from discussions across so far. Prof, good morning to you and welcome to the Happy Morning Show.
Good morning.
Prof, the three-letter word IMF has been on the lips of Ghanaians over the last few days. And over the last few months, this International Monetary Fund discussions have not sat well with government, especially when it comes from the opposition. Government has had to do a U-turn in recent times to go back to the IMF to engage them on balance of payment support. Prof, what is the IMF? What do they do? And what does it mean for a nation to go to the IMF seeking a bailout?
Well, IMF is an international financial institution that countries belong to, so that if they are going through serious fiscal distress that they are not able to find solution to, they go to IMF as a last resort to support them to restore their economy on the path of stability and soundness. So that is the essence of the IMF. And normally, whatever assistance, both technical and financial, that they have, goes to their members. So Ghana is a member of the IMF, and that is why even when we are not under IMF program, we have what we call Article 4 consultation meetings that the IMF will be having with the countries, look at what they are doing and provide advice. So basically that is the IMF. It's not a demonic institution. It is not an institution that destroys countries. They are institutions that help countries out of their deep problems when their own efforts become very weak to deal with the problem they are facing.
Prof, you followed the discussions that has gone on since Friday, and government clearly is going to the IMF to seek balance of payment support. What does it mean when government says they are going to the IMF to seek balance of payment support?
Well, it means that, first of all, we have used our reserves, thinking that we are using it to support the management of the economy, especially the currency issues. But we've not been able to get a better solution out of what we have done. So the IMF will provide some funding that will raise our reserve and then provide technical support and advice in managing the balance of payment to be able to reflect on our numbers. But as to whether IMF will be giving balance of payment support or not will depend on the discussion or the negotiation that will start on Wednesday. Because our problem is largely about debt. Our problem is largely about poor fiscal management. And what we need now is rather restructuring of our debt. That is what is the main issue. And if you look at all the discussions that the IMF had in the past with our government and about the economy, it's all about our debt. It's all about the distressed nature of our debt. So how will you use mere balance of payment support to deal with this debt crisis that we find ourselves? Government is struggling even to pay 20 bills. So how would balance of payment support deal with that? So it's a matter that will unfold when the IMF engagement is concluded.
Okay. Prof, looking at the situation at the moment and looking at Ghana's debt stock as at the first quarter of 2022, we are talking about 391 billion Ghana cedis as our debt stock as at now. Is there a possibility that the IMF may not be ready to support us in the way we are actually approaching them? Would they decline our request for balance of payment support? Is there a possibility because of our huge debt stock?
Yeah, they will look at the debt. They have their own metrics. The range within which they can give a certain support think Sri Lanka went to the IMF recently.
Yeah.
They have not received what they wanted. They have asked them to go and do some further work and come back. So it depends on the quality and credibility of the data that we provide to the IMF across all the sectors. Our growth numbers. Why is it that we were able to grow 0.4 when we have identified that it is COVID and that COVID has destroyed everything? We are not getting revenue. We are not getting this. We are not doing that. Our expenditure has gone up. But we managed to get 0.4% growth. So it's a matter that is very crucial in my opinion. Our growth numbers will have to be looked at whether they are credible. Our numbers in terms of expenditure, they will be looked at and then get the real figures. You recall that in 2020, when the government of Ghana went to IMF for COVID support, and they were giving $1 billion.
Yeah.
You recall that the data that the government of Ghana gave to IMF was different from the data they have been giving us all along. If I will refresh your mind, deficit, they have been giving a deficit of 4.7, but the deficit that they gave to IMF was 7.5. You see the difference?
Yeah.
So all these things put together will give a reflection as to what we should get and what we shouldn't get.
Prof, this would be our 17th time going to the IMF for bailout. The past 16 times clearly would tell us a story about the structure of our economy. Knowing all of this, the question I would ask here is, why have we consistently gone to the IMF for bailout and not done anything about our structures to make sure going back to the IMF is a thing of the past?
Well, that is part of the poor leadership we have had up to now. We have leadership that depend on political sloganeering. They want to serve their own political promises instead of a long-term national development agenda. Then, in a way, we have leaders who don't learn. We have leaders who don't learn. All that they want is they want to be in power, finish their 4 terms, so that all the evil they have done, they want their parties to continue so that they will be protected. That's the kind of leadership we have been turning out over the years, and we need to correct that. Because going to IMF over and over, some of the times, it's just because we don't learn lessons. So the lesson we learned when IMF engaged us, as soon as IMF leaves us, we go back. Let me draw your attention to 2001 to 2006, when we exited the HIPC initiative.
Yeah.
As soon as we left the HIPC, the first thing we did was borrow $750 million, the highest in Sub-Saharan Africa in the Eurobond market at the time. And we were very happy that we were able to raise that bond. We didn't plan how to use the money. 1 year after that, we said that we don't have any money unless we sell Vodafone. And we did so Vodafone. So when leaders behave like that, why would they go back to IMF? So it's because we have not been practicing the lesson. Now you hear people saying that when you go to IMF, you will not get jobs, and it's a lie. It's a big lie, because politicians want to pack all the people in his party and his family. When you need 5 people in an office, you want to put 60 there. And IMF will tell you it's a very bad governance. Don't do that. But as soon as IMF leaves, they go back to the same thing. Some of them are even bold and say that they will not pay arrears to contractors who they think that they belong to the other side because they will use it to finance the other side. They have forgotten that paying contractors help in circulation of money in the system for productive activity. So it is because of leadership who doesn't learn lessons.
Prof, is going to the IMF bad?
I've just told you that you go to IMF when all your efforts cannot help you out of your problem. So if you're going to a very good hospital for your problem to be resolved, how can you say it's bad? It is never bad. It is never bad. But the point is, why are you going? Is it because of your mismanagement? They say conduct COVID-19 expenditure audit. You say you will not do it. You get it. Meanwhile, you say COVID is your major problem.
Prof.
So I am saying that it is our leaders and not IMF. If they go to IMF, whatever bitter lesson they learn, if they will tell themselves that, look, let us put this framework in place, we don't do that again. That will help. But up to now, our leaders have not learned lessons.
Prof, before we bring the conversation to an end, I'm sure you've been following the discussion on the political scene.
Yes.
The not to go to IMF and the sudden U-turn. Now, government is telling us that 2 factors. One, the minority failed or prevented them from passing the e-levy bill earlier on. And the e-levy, in their estimation, was supposed to be the game changer as far as bringing in more revenue was concerned. Again, government has argued that COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war is the reason why they are going to the IMF, rather than the argument of mismanagement and incompetence. Doc, what do you have to say about the debate that's going on?
Well, that is the political window dressing of the matter. We know that government failed before introducing the e-levy. Failed why? Because government knew that there is something called broader consultation, but the government didn't do that. When the e-levy was rejected, it was then the government started going around that they are doing engagement. That's a failure. And then you look at, so it has actually made people very angry about this. There are research reports across Africa telling you that when any country that the electronic tax is introduced on mobile money and the rest, it creates this problem. The government is very arrogant. They were insulting people, say all manner of things. In fact, some of them were even throwing dust in our eyes. Some people will say that e-levy will do everything in Ghana. So that's what I think the government should blame itself. And again, if you look at the performance of the e-levy, if assuming the e-levy is producing 200 million in the 2 months that it was introduced, you can be blaming that, oh, it didn't come early. If it was to come early, oh, we would have gotten a lot. The thing is not performing. Just 10% of estimated amount for the 2 months. How will you blame minority and how will you blame Ghanaians? You see, for you to go to e-levy, for you to go to IMF, it is because you are not able to handle your problem. Whether the problem is international, global, or regional, or national, it is because you have not been able to manage. Leaders are supposed to manage problems. Leaders are supposed to deal and resolve challenges. So whether it is COVID, it is Russia, whatever, you don't have the ability to manage that crisis. That is why you are going to IMF. Other countries have been able to manage. They are not going to IMF. So it is the weakness of the policy, the weakness of the ability to manage whatever problems they are talking about. That is the reason why we are going to IMF. It is equal to inability. It is equal to mismanagement. So we run away from that. Throw away COVID and throw away Russia-Ukraine war. And check your ability. You don't have the ability.
Prof, thank you very much for joining.
And that is what happens to any government that goes to IMF. Because your ability cannot solve the problem you are facing.
Prof, I appreciate your time on the Happy Morning Show this morning. And it's been a pleasure having Prof on the show. It's Professor John Gachi, an economist. Yanene Echichun Komo Kakra, IMF in Sensemo, quickly, no, Mema Sefa, aboard your Kayano, Tofa, Amaye, and Sana Yako for a break. It's Sefa, quickly, no, bring up to speed with their Prof.
What's the money, Tofa?
Yeah, just
summarize it. Dear Prof, kind of very simple. Or say, so mind be ho. No, on to me, she near me, and no, and a manico. A day a cocopemwa, a free IMF. For IMF no hono, and yet a kua, a siwa, a new man for any kua, a siwa, a say a man for mine. A kua, a my mind be breed, don't want quackordon. That is all hotchera. But wait me, and see a chia baby, I'll bet me a quackodje, now at me a day above bra. Now, dear Yanis was a politics, no, and I say, oh, down, who dear aqua IMF. Naturally, I say, who can crabia bamu, any just say, it's a man for a decan alcohol no mudi aqua politics, and some dear man, I'm on your same ninty. Obi coha, and there's a here cry a day. Abana Nina come for an interest. A mamona yentimia moon yen, economy yentimia man and now soon in tea. Any idea near IMF na yakope. Bossing a bit me a boy, I'm here to me a D of my abranemum, Bossiano crano. And Tresse a bit me, I near men, come within the short term to the long term. Now I was see to me a share economy no near I want at Timao Hono. Now into me any year said the Uzana simply said, then you be young co IMF bill and or say structure. What I say, passive, that's on panel was so. And got top mattress from farmer to so. But it's all boho. Oh, down panels and panel was also. And your mattress from now got to zoo. Oh, baby hinge, no, baby a hinge baby at what the chema, baby that will be a baby in a way, and now Uncle ye. Said there be a Uncle Boca. Okay. Uncle Tom Pahofro, and a mattress from farmer to and paniso.
Enti Professor John Gachi in Sema Okaya no ena sefa abono tofa na sefa aso okasa bako afa debate na abano prof ka bibi fa no so ho enti kan no so chega na debate say mismanagement
adaptation dey wadi kan
COVID-19
wadi kan
Russia Ukraine
wadi kan enye Russia Ukraine who mismanage you ko say and a statement to make emphatic statements they will say there are countries almost so pandemic he be a bomb. They are managing. Yeah. They have been able to manage. We have countries who are even providing substantial buffers to their people, but they are still managing. We were also trying to manage. Oh no, maybe.
Enti sefa yekoba me wo kojo ponkuma sound bite mebo. We are now watching Radio and Sana Kogana Kasa. Eti yabadani onkaka yababaka. This is the Happy Morning Show. We're also live on Happy 98.9 FM. We are live on ESM 100.1 FM in Tamale and ESM 95.1 FM in Bolga. Yabadani onkaka yababaka. The Happy Morning Show continues. This is the Happy Morning Show. We are live on Happy 98.9 FM. We're also live on ETV Ghana. Jumediano say at around 5:30. Yeah, the road safety tidbits Bremo or Jumediano. So yeah, the headlines of the newspaper said Bremo. Ghana Meteorological Agency on weather update for the past 24 hours. No, for the next 24 hours. Sorry. Yeah, the nina Bremo or Jumediano. So now you are in some on social media trends. So trending issues be a course. So over the weekend, yeah, the nina Bremo or Jumediano. So anope ya kase no yane impenyufo atwetwe nkomo efa IMF Ghana ya decided say you bet formally no you be engage International Monetary Fund in a bear on betumi my balance of payment support. Nina Nkomo yetumi edi so far on the Happy Morning Show. Mama Kancho said this is Ghana's #1 morning show. Ope insema objective, ope objectivity and our objective analysis adwumede we na obenyawo. Ope details nyina ene nsem untie wo bibia ha na obetumi enyantie enya san nsem nyina efri. Now also no if you want to have your say, if you want us to give you the microphone to also have your say on some of these pertinent issues, Happy Morning Show gives you that platform to share your thoughts with us. You either share your thoughts with us via WhatsApp on 02022 22067, or when we open the phone lines, you can also join us and share your thoughts with us on discussion be I have a what Jumedian also. I'm also say my bremo CBG business tips. Now CBG business tips and pay in some of the no if advantages of online payments. Now advantages of online payments there. Then you name say Sisiano sena economy a global economy. Bibia a interlinked no humbe here say online payments and obetumi credible online payments platforms in the Bibre CBG provider one of the credible online payments. Now you say advantage of online payments and they say it's faster and convenient. It's a online payment fast and open so your payment quickly send a delivery of goods and services just say open say deliver goods what amount and I say what could service be so tiaka online payments and I come from our no pay yes you be and make sure say or the home bedroom into nya dia still no yebekita cash be na de nam chrome there be online payments any other way to go no the message CBG semen fan pro and no pay Sefa before yebekwa koje thoughts from your viewers still on the IMF discussion Kojo Oppong Nkrumah has been speaking, and yesterday, credit to TV3, interview be to me a course or the same kakra etuja for the reason why government edin any IMF. Quickly, yenti dia Kojo Oppong Nkrumah ewaka. Maybe Sefa will give us a thoughts quickly on this subject, and then I'll open the phone lines for you to join me with your thoughts on the discussion so far this morning, and any other matter you feel say we haven't discussed, you want to touch on it quickly. Yenti Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, Minister of Information, some of the responses is brought.
No, it's a normal part of my job to articulate to the Republic the decisions of the government and sometimes the President, and it is in that line that we put that out. The reasons that have brought us here are quite clear. If you look at the performance of Ghana's economy between 2017 and 2019, yes, there were still some structural challenges in Ghana's economy, but the economy was performing way better based on in particular, the fiscal and monetary policy measures and the broader economic policy measures that the administration was rolling out. And so the results were that we were growing better. Inflation was going down, interest rates were going down. We were having the opportunity to create some more jobs and some more development programs in the economy. In 2020, that stopped. That stopped primarily because our economy, still with its challenges, was hit by a major external factor, not just our economy, many economies around the world. In 2021, we started a path to recovery. So you notice that in 2021, even though we had depleted a good chunk of our buffers and our reserves, we were still now building back better, trying to rebuild our reserves and trying to get the economy back on track. And then the first part of 2022, I think in February, you had what occurred in the Black Sea area, giving the world another major crisis. Now, there's a high food price all over the world, high fuel prices, high cost of financing, and it is biting the Ghanaian a lot. Do you have the domestic buffer still to respond to them? You don't. You are now just trying to recover and rebuild. And so if you look at all your options, despite the initial thinking that you could rebuild those buffers domestically, the President has decided that it's important we start engaging with the fund with the possibility of getting a balance of payments support from them to help us rebuild our buffers and better mitigate what's happening around the world and happening here in Ghana. I believe that that is a good reason for which a lot of people are asking questions. And the answers for that. I think we have been clear that when you self-induce a crisis, and then you have to go to the fund for a balance of payment supported program, then it raises questions about the way you are managing fiscal policy, monetary policy, and the broader economy. But this is not a situation in which you have a self-induced crisis.
Honorable Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, a information minister, also or try to explain why government say omotumeko PMO or IMF or say we and self-induced and say mismanage economy no or say COVID-19 any Russia-Ukraine war external factors no nina ene ha abaya sisia no omudi omuni ache IMF omukwakoje balance of payment support. So quickly manage your thoughts now.
Previously when Deputy Finance Minister Dean Christ John Kumar Kasano, he made mention of some figures, and I said, yes, sir, you call to the IMF. I think said there were some factual inaccuracies. He was mentioning that since 1992, it's only the NDC that is taking Ghana to IMF, which is wrong. In 2003 to 2006, we went to the IMF for the same, similar support from the IMF. But you see, when the argument centers around, oh, this is not self-induced and this is by external shocks and blah, 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 the question that I ask, and they say, so how much of this problem is as a result of Russia-Ukraine, COVID-19, and how much of it is self-induced? If, say, then when we are doing the analysis, we'll be able to say, so, okay, yes, 17% of our challenges that we're facing now is as a result of Russia-Ukraine. 19% is as a result of COVID-19. And let's say 60% is as a result of air mismanagement. Look, time in, time out. We have been consistent talking about our debt to GDP ratio. We're talking about the debt stock that we have. We've been talking about the depreciation of the Ghana cedi, exchange rate challenges that we've been having.
Net export.
Net export. You see, all of these are challenges. Are you saying, sir, prior to COVID-19, we were not realizing these challenges within our economy? In 2019, there was a prediction, said there's a likelihood for us to go back to the IMF, which we joked around it. Even that time, not COVID in my. But looking at the economic indices, do you recall said there was a time government came out with a particular data? It was countered by the IMF. Said data no modiabano is inaccurate.
That's correct.
What I say? So it tells you that and say way back. Affair and sana adru nim pompon so. And in pompon so no na ada diamia who say baby ejina sesi ya na de enye. And we may have to go back to the IMF for a support. But the question also must be asked, say, are we saying, say, for 16 times, we have not been able to deal with the fundamental structural challenges? Is that what we are saying? In 1983, the structural adjustment program was meant to deal with some of the economic fissures within our economy. Anything here core here for them to help us. They did not just help us with Sikao, they helped us with ideas. What happened to that? Are we saying, sir, consistently, every 4 years, averagely, every 4 years since 1966, we will be going back to the IMF? Is that what we're saying?
So far?
If that is our normal, and the woman this way.
In fact, is that what we're saying?
If that is our normal,
then why do we then have finance ministers? Why do we then vote for governments who promise said they will end the situation? It's like a flooding in this country.
No, maybe it's about one of our
I have also heard people like you say, look, I am a member of the IMF.
It doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter.
I am a member.
Are you the only member of IMF?
No, Ghana is a member of the IMF.
Are you the only member of IMF?
There are opportunities for you to explore cheaper loans at IMF. Okay? And these cheaper loans...
Cheaper loans with conditionalities.
With conditionalities, yes. But again, these cheaper loans come with very low interest rates and it gives you a longer time to pay back. Now, why don't I go to the IMF, take advantage of that facility and then renegotiate my debt repayment structure, and then it gives me some breathing space as far as my spending our economy no concerned, so that I can have enough money to take off infrastructure development in Myanmar. No, people have argued along those lines, and that's why the 16 times, every government, once they are hard up kakrana, once they are hamstrung kakrano, quickly no go to the IMF. Say nebeya, relief kakra.
And then I'm asking this question, say Professor Aka Ebusa over the weekend that amount for it too in say, what if there was no IMF?
Sefa, I know I ask him, but quickly, Mami be phone lines, Mami be phone lines, na me viewers sending me listeners, almost someone join here quickly. 0244-885140. 0244-885140 and 0555-657278. Into maybe your phone lines for 5 minutes in a bear. Also be joining here now. Watch our on discussion I have it so far. Other matters be so say discuss here or show no so. Akwenya or hosel be fair now. Watch our dream into Yanko for Ghana Kasa. Into Ghana Kasamre and Asua. Let's hear your thoughts. Join us with your thoughts. Minyak Kola Ewa Humano. So, would you need to be out very free?
Yeah, Rastaman, good morning.
Good morning. Would you need to be out very free?
Yeah, Prime Minister Samir.
Oh, Samir.
You know, I'm enjoying the conversation you guys are having in the studio.
Very well.
It's fantastic the views you guys are expressing this morning. But you see, most important amongst the issues, your priorities.
How?
Oh, man,
how is it allowed?
No, he's a viewer and a listener.
But I called into Ghana Qatar. It wasn't that they called me. Let's not be aware that I called you into Ghana Qatar.
Can you imagine?
Samir, let's hear you. Let's hear you.
So Raymond, it's about priorities. And it's about government inability to discipline itself. Because when we go to the IMF, what really is it about? The core IMF, it is about our inability to discipline ourselves in terms of our expenditure and revenue targets. You know that at the end of the day, your 100 million target you have set for yourself for the year, you're not going to achieve it. Meanwhile, you still have on your books projects and programs you want to run that will take you beyond the 100 billion Ghana cedis you claim you want to achieve. It was obvious from the government's own position when it did its extrapolation that we're going to initially lose some 25% of Ghanaians who are on the mobile money, the e-levy thing. It was obvious. That meant the government revenue target was going to be affected. So it was obvious that certain programs were not going to be able to achieve them. Again, the government can tell us, 20% of a year, one more expenditure programs, but we knew that the rest of the 80%, even 100 billion, could not do it. So it was our inability to control our expenditure. If we have been able to cut down, let's say, to some of our projects, you remember we have said on the show there, agenda 111, even to like I say year 5. If it's like I say year 10, the rest will continue. In the next administration.
Wakasabi, Maubisu, and Brown Humanoso.
Yo, that you free to
It is Samir Shen, and it's in Ka, Media no Sono. 0244-885140 and 0555-657278 to so bet me afraid now or the Wajin Chaba. Hello, caller. Would you need to be out for free?
Hello.
Hello, your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, this is from Sabora.
Okay, my NTOED.
When I'm Pejma, I'll call you crowd to see when I'm a channel. What you see now, what's a channel? Oh, send it here. When she chose, she don't find you on me. In commenting, meet champion for an power with studio.
Yeah.
And Brasson say, Moa, the west of West Listening. Mumaya Chin, maybe asking. On send us in free by or 2 per or the Brico. Sana city here, next of the studio, Sana Yana. The same one more car, actually, be an animal yard. So, yeah, Nam say, Muna, I am with Martina Fanasa. Ye can say, Raymond, the can say, O catch a bind say on one home because of this conditionality or the requirement. You say, we are seeing no IMF, no a Kua, Yadi won't be adding who I call them out, be a woman. Ghana, your co young co, your friends say, your deals, Edma Iron. And you know, and yet, Bonnet will be a bind equa IMF. But then I must show any hand times, you know, about we catch us on quiet. the overquire if I'm not on the economy. I said a lot of friends playback of Casa Mafwaka this administration or my car, what money nana power. The Yachana said, and there will Iris no. The first, with Yama is car around them, and they got any idea. Who can say the money the grant? The idea of the grant, and the idea of the press, even a 2 forest, the aquatic for 100 years. Say the bear gonna be beer and water. At the end, yes, young Yanji Ilivia, which now see your catcher and Chia Ilivia. I'm going to campaign your friend is Channel, and there you see a county Ilivia. But I'm not to because it's a common
okay, Midasi, Idi for joining me on the show this morning. And also bet to me after I'll pick just one more call. 0244885140 and 0555657278. Wouldn't any people out free?
More fast than I'm not quite in you, Kumasi.
Nana Quatin, I don't pay Kumasi to say.
No, fast you did you, Jan Quebec, the Kuraban, the number to be pressed. Because in the Juma Kuraban, to be pressed. You did that was what I thought. I'm a 24 hour on TSC. More fast. After we have the papa. The entire harmony said, and 10 people are binding himself. More dear, more to in terms of more policies in the more bad government, more dear. And then a day, none of good for me. Mammy, too, a year government official telephone. But do upon Kuruma, a year as Antibidia, true, nay, finance minister, no money as of my for me, the woman, I'll let it upon it down. Now, go come on to Santa Bay. Happy before you come on to one and Bay. IMF. I mean, you said IMF near with defense spell view. Near that NDC for the idea. Now, when the IMF proper, what yes, they can go woman and Omuka and Kaya, sunset, Omuka, Omu Chemuama, Adiano, a year, I cannot see the NIA colony, because he had working. There are most cafe, Fako, Sotpon, Fokoto, and Chilebrahim, and Young Pine. O Koi Baya, and Chinama. Sikanama, a dear fan happened to me actually, a bet the better said Chinami and Satan, Yagigu and Kwa. You didn't know I bet you a better said Chinano, you hear and check. It is a Mudia called IMF, among common to Namunko. Naman shall make us them, who has asked them, and for the future of the Mamono. Gabia Salo Tredako, Wahano of Fatan and Wahano Papa. Mine, what Casado? What Casado?
But I say,
government in what?
Yeah. But as I say, I know pay also Afreya Odawa Jinche a prayer. My final caller, Humano, so wouldn't any baby afraid for you?
Okay, yes, Remy, Edwin, Nevresi, Aquitia.
Edwin, Mamintio.
And the particular India, Menina said, I
okay.
Not there's nothing wrong with going to the IMF. It do be your member power, your dream man. And we have to voice out. Any ninja, Ghana and your Maya, as a defendant, said there's nothing wrong with going to the IMF. Yes, Nyama, a war mining Nestania, in case Yadinama to Aquima, Yakoa. We should know. And some of these things, when we say we are educating the youth and the public, going to the IMF, what are some of the repercussions? And what are the good side of it? I think I want one of us, one of these days, the the good side and the bad side. Because on my way, there were a lot of advantages.
Okay, well, if you are so, but if you listen to the show this morning, Professor John Gachi, economist, your friend, the good side of going to IMF, and he spoke about some of the dark consequences, as we have been made to believe, of going to IMF. And really, or say, consequences of going to IMF, and I say, conditionalities in most of them, it is in our best interest as a nation. When somebody tells you, say, IMF, public sector, Professor Eka say, and to me, because most of the time, the public service, according to say, a Juma for 3 beth to me, I know, a bind to me for 10 at the share house on my Jumano. Ninano, enya dia betumi aboa, and that is why the IMF in their wisdom no try as much as possible to get you to control some of these things. Ninyina nsema, I'm sure say once editors no be cancer, we would again throw light on some of these issues for you to understand dynamics of going to IMF, any role a play. Now obi be catch us say free SHS ninyama betwem ninyama. Some of these things cannot be wholly correct. Enti Munfa and so Shemukuto as the discussion continues. Enti Sefa, quickly Nianto and the Ansana editors na bekansa.
On the we young IMF, we are Qatar. A special package for Qatar 2022 World Cup. About November 2022, yeah, not just a World Cup. No Ghana be could be the best. Just why do you so bit me open so Majis Nibi or Qatar and Kwan there any Kempom say men can't trust Modiana bra. Ne your special package at the Mama Maya crowd or some person to a coin a Qatar a World Cup nibi. Qatar Airways, accommodation, feeding, match ticket, internal transport, and many more. And only package no ya the Emma one. And Mr. Wabwa was a canon quan the Modian friend number is 0598 474404 and 0598 459734. And also bet me any CBG bank bia for more inquiries. Company Qatar in here. It is a country say it could be and your plan. Into any usikano wunya why junior say is son of Bombardia pet being kitten for free sikanum na faton and no dachi a so a bit me aba and faswamon. And tana na onya scanner or their quack of viwanum spelele uya na ukuta okra was rested there be yanyanesa. When you see so a wobo brain kuade, Bomodia, Pisicanibi, Upebia, Bomodin Fabici, and an ADC semen country say Bomodin, na Bromashe, and all the Usika Betoa, a so emphasis, Pudu, Kakrakapa, and Yadia Okrano grabit me, a dear. Bomodina bra, na any medinka town, young Chero Quanqua Faswa, ubet me Lucika na Tua Meso Aban Fasopa, the amount that numbers I bet me a friend 0302 634 165 and 0595235065. Ensure dear unyan super na onoma eye unyan super na onoma eye bomodia say abribia ensure bia benum bia na kanjim water na obenum na enu sa ensure no bomodin na anya bia utimu say vitamin C vitamin E beta carotene ni nyina bi wo ye Kangen alkaline water from a Kangen energetic machine mu no and I design we firm ama ensure no enia tekrojen ama wono mu ensunsuanso boni enhyeda emma wasitena mo modern na fre 0302 309500 na eni omuni nkitaho na se de be yanso betimi anya nsu krojen ayeden anom Sida Medical Plaza say men control say ye medical mall ye will be biara efa eye ayaresa ho nti wa oye nurse wa oye asopiti na wo pe eye medical eye equipment bi atototo no bomodian na bra ya so eye na yenso apart from that no ye diagnostics center no so provide medical laboratory and imaging services. Na no ba digital x-ray, ultrasound scan, ECG, echo and spirometry, etc. You know about how bit me I say me be nyina there. Person dey make kind of but show me. Courier services are also available to pick up samples from workplaces. Into our own person will be to an amako a diagnostic center hono. Free courier service no pa. E ba beje sample no na say dia ko na yakwa akudi ho dwuma ayere edi amount bomodi abra ya hwe na ye ni nkita ho ayere hwe de visit Sida Medical Plaza Graphic Road adjacent Franco Pat Cold Store opposite the MTN office and abet me after 34 home so 0248 089898 and 0207 771413 Sida Medical Plaza, your one-stop medical facility. My main favorite chapter on away more SME Smart Loan from CBG Consolidated Bank Ghana. 400,000 Ghana cedis. sɛ wo yɛ bodwa adwuma nko ade a CBG sɛ men kan kyerɛ sɛ na no pa sɛ mo de o CBG branch bia bo modern na borom fa te sɛ men ntem we sika sɛ mo wọ́n sɛ de Ghana ya to ebo ase e kwa IMF no sika sɛ de opepro ma Ghana 00 so no bia afɔ ne so eti CBG sɛ men kan kyerɛ sɛ ne wo yɛ bodwa adwuma na peska de atra ɛyɛ atre wa adwuma no mu bo modern na bra ya hye na ye ne eni nkita ho. Na the number betimi afa afreni 0302216000 and now betimi akọ any social media handle bia no ukọ CBG ye ho oni oton safre nko ade e betimi aba na ye discount we bro Fatima we 400,000 Ghana cedis.
Na Eye Vision Center Eye Clinic.
But man fan so say Ghana card nko na betimi e dey access.
So me can say Omuma quality and comprehensive eye examination, consultation, diagnosing, treatment, and management of eye problems. Saso and Omutone trendy frames at affordable prices. Now at Eye Vision Center, no, you can walk in from Monday to Friday for free eye test from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eye Vision Center Eye Clinic is an accredited facility at World Graphic Road inside the Cedar Medical Plaza, adjacent Franco Part Cold Store, assigned to opposite the MTN office. From 05591999622 and 02020833332. Eye Vision Center, your sight best vision center. Royal Aroma, SCN Kanchram say, and if you say approximately 50% of women and 66% of preschool age children suffer from anemia. There are many more who suffer from deficiencies of certain vitamins and minerals. Now, because our nutrients are very important, and a Royal Aroma a fortify or rice, or mashada iron the vitamins be to say iron, zinc, vitamin B, B6, B9, B12, egumu dada. Dia wo hia ne se obenwa na menim se ebi mumu no rice amohoro ohoro ho kra nya dia vitamin C ebefi mu enti no tumi ohoro ho dia opɛ wonno anso a enya dia ebenoa anase vitamin C benoa efiri mu wonno a ne nyina eda so ehye mu a udi a unim se unya nuanu nrei na every serving of aroma Royal Aroma fortified rice gives you at least 15% of your daily requirement of these nutrients. And with this, you can relax. Wankasa family Royal Aroma fortified rice utumi eda because we him say omu enya nutrient omu ehia. Na no matter what we do, not judgment eba yakwemu. We trika say aden na trika na wonante omo say aden na dada untumi enter car. Enti no dia baby no judgment ewum na judgment na eba no we use Tasty Tom enriched tomato mix de nya de obi abejaji weduane a wudie anasa odema webusuafo omo are enriched with fiber and vitamins, and it is perfect for giving your family nutritious and delicious meals. Enti no peduane pa ama webusua me pa chofa Tasty Tom enriched tomato mix Tasty Tom enriched tomato mix strength comes from within. Costa Rica. Opesa Costa Rica, Konya Abba. Na government of Ghana through the Ministry of Youth and Sport and Omama City Gate Travel and Tour. Omama Akonya say, Omu organize Ghana for na omu enko Costa Rica umbako supported Black Princesses of Ghana ewo afi FIFA Under 20 Women's World Cup yebebo ewo August yemu next month opesa okasa Ghana for no na mukọ Costa Rica na mpacho. Contact City Gate Travel and Tour for more details from 020 90 11 11 5 and 0500 77 73 73 and 0527 51 61 67. City Gate Travel and Tour, your gateway to Costa Rica, America, a partner you can trust. Costa Rica, Kunyano, and Ababe Piemuno.
Fati, Fa medamwase sir Mabekan Sanopea Yade Jumediano Abreti for this is still the Happy Morning Show. We are live on Happy 98.9 FM. We're also live on ETV Ghana. Jumediano Sena Medica Akano pertinent issues and I discuss it anope na anope de Beshe IMF and Semno na yetume akani ye. Na what has brought us here? What has brought us to this point? IMF na ye kono. What are some of the lessons are yebetume epeke from decision of government to me taking the past moving on a bit to me a boy and then you know discussions I be have me editors about coming Cecilia and Chibia David Tamaklo or no editor Emma WhatsApp news or Baba Cancer and Awudu Mahama or no Baba Cancer the custodian editor na yetumide in Komono Asheso. But quickly no Mamenka will say MMC Live is back Saturday the 30th of July 2022 our Grand Arena Dome. Grand Arena no. 3 exciting arts will come to play. Music, magic and comedy all on one stage. Pleasant tunes mixed with laughter and a touch of the unthinkable. Pleasant tunes mixed with laughter and a touch of the unthinkable. Yes, I know. And because our Grand Arena on the 30th of July 2022. Performing live is the Golden Boy Kiddie, Evergreen Adina, Rip Crackers Clemento Suarez, and Kenny Black and South African magician Alfredo Regards. Tickets are going for a cool 100 Ghana cedis and 150 Ghana cedis for double. Over to me at tickets now, and they're over to me at online. Star 713 star 33 star 10 hash. Star 713 hash. Sorry, star 713 star 33 star 10 hash. Eno ne line over to me and a short code over to me abo senebeya won sabe to me account ticket. MMC Live is powered by Global Media Alliance and proudly sponsored by HD Plus, Scent of Africa by Kandor Cosmetics, South African Airways and Eddie's Pizza. Media partners are YFM, MX24 TV, CTFM, Pulse Ghana, Happy FM, ETV Ghana, Daily Guide, Business and Financial Times, NYDJ Live, Amaya Deborah, Ghana Web, Silver Bed Cinemas, Perception Management International. Omunina ekahwa yade sa dwumedie we bremo. Na me editors no omatina se na anopedia. Them say ebe jaso because sena Mr. Tamaklo was in black our betina in change here. Obo say filled with action. Mr. Awudu Mahama so was in white or celebrity minim do celebrity there but ebia we future ne ehun say ebia Ghana be pie free ahunye mu ntina wa she white no but penny for mama akwaba Mr. Tamaklo akwaba eba Happy Morning Show no so anope
that's really I'm to say
nyame adom be daddy Mr. Awudu Mahama
yes sir
sena waji white shirt here na there when them say wo celebratory mood mo me akwaba eba jumedi no so
me da say enia mechia for na etifo nyina
etifo na ahwefo omo nyina omo jew so yabesha nkomo na ase a somewhere 2019 specifically on the 22nd of March our inner court of the finance ministry no Ken Ofoyata celebrate hat-trick na hat-trick na omo celebrate no na bako Ghana's successful euro bond. The second one was the appreciation of the cedi against the dollar, and the third one was to celebrate Ghana exiting the IMF program. 3 years on, Ghana is broke. Now, the president has authorized the finance minister to formally engage the IMF for balance of payment support. We a big discussion at Ekoso, Ghana for Yena, Ediomano Atoma, economists, Kasa, government officials, Kasa, so Kasa. Editors also behave or take on some of these matters. Mamisha say, free Mr. Tamaklo. After successfully exiting the program in 2019, Ghana is going back to the IMF. David, Ebani saying, Nebedru Habio.
Many are going to say.
Nyamiado.
Many I would do Michel. I made you so. We are all beside him. But
I think that the signs were written on the walls. Ukaya Abane Baye Akufo-Addo Abane by 2017. There was already an IMF program and now Air Koso. Now it was a program Owura Tekpe and
John
Mahama. Call IMF. Okay, so say the normal air con. Now who I can hear say we hear support every IMF for. Now before we call, we assemble some Ghanaian experts, and they did that inviting even the opposition elements. Okay, MPP they issued a statement say members enko sa meeting. It happened at Senchi.
Okay.
Senchi. And I recall Osafuma Foucault, he had a lot of backlash from his colleagues who like I think he indicated his intention to go.
Yeah.
And the colleagues said there be what the reason they didn't go there or they cited for not going was that Ghana did not deserve to be at IMF. There was something called homegrown policies. That was what the Senchi meeting came up with. And they had earmarked Nyoma, feel say as a country, ebeboa a free financial sustainability. And no, we say to the point say all they needed from IMF was some financial cushioning. If we call 2017, Abaya a MPP for no say pay IMF no, buy no more extend the IMF no 2019. Now, the reason behind the extension is that by the time we extend the IMF within that 1 year, now no more be akoso. Until they couldn't meet the timelines. What's all IMF? It's all any discount. There are conditions are almost set with time set. Until say within 1 year of your being with the IMF, also ABC. 2 years, I was on ABC. And so when to me, Anya, many IMF team, a review, no more why. So, Mufo say, no more, ya set to say, yeah. Within that 1 year, wait me, then they push you to the next stage. The 2017, no buy, say, no way on your mind, they couldn't meet the requirement. And now, I'm push you call 2019. Na 2019 no emeni drew na owura a friends owura a friends Kenneth Furata eno mo ko ye kenke party e wo ministry so di kenke sada no dan ko di ko no mo di kenke basa se o mo achieve na every okosa be do ha your testimony ni say as a country, we cannot pay even our interest. The testimony says, I am here in the next 2 months. And my 4 kitchen intimate. Testimony say, after Sikanya ya borrow, the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, more borrow more than 200 times what was borrowed by all governments in the past. Now, since Ghana was borrowing now, the sad thing is you cannot see what has been done with that money. Look, last 2 weeks, I said last weekend, there was a meeting at Pedraza Lodge. Yeah, cabinet meeting at Mukoye. That was where the decision of going to IMF was arrived at. But it didn't come easy because Kenneth Furata knew he wasn't going to take it. It took the Bank of Ghana team to explain to our sleeping president what was going on.
No,
sleeping president. Of course. I mean, it is only sleeping that will lead us to this kind of economy. It is only when people you have assigned to do, you have entrusted with the public purse, are sleeping, the man on top of it. It is only when he's sleeping that you allow the likes of Ken Ofori-Atta to remain the finance minister even when things are going wrong. So, I'm sorry, Sir Tikewa, I mean that he's sleeping on the job. Okay. That's what I meant to say. Yeah. And say, when he woke up to the reality, as was explained to him, I say, look, you call IMF. Now, one other thing they didn't realize, they say, IMF will cover. There are things that would be done. So in the next 1 year, yeah, that's if they even, stick to their word of going to the IMF. Say, could do who we are. Book now, a friend say, say, a cartoon on what on wet room. Scan on what the only year on wet room. What the book number? Now IMF team now come book clean. Who can say a friend say, a friend said 20 million, said 70 billion. The COVID 17 million the year COVID. And why be book ni now mama here. First accounting principle say accounting now I know. So here say what is say parliament for nature say figures now ya na omudi ba parliament no. We are Ofori-Atta the ba parliament no. I don't want to talk about a friend saying that he and his even the president, any vice president now, and someone muka etia going to bank IMF. And some poto and collide the IMF. No more continue and collan be bejo and then collaneba. And collan baby history books no more. What make books no more one by one. Now, it is at a muda. Want to mean fat no man see. And then take me catch the filler, me man say. Ochina, no chinity ya, I'm a phone bedroom. I'm over bedroom. Don't be surprised if you hear say, Rob Ken Ofori-Atta, Uncle, and Shaw.
Now, when we go to Shaw,
me catch is aiming at some $5 billion. Ever Saudi Arabia. No, Oko.
No, own your information if
me catch you.
Now, $5 billion, no, a loan.
$5 billion. Also, could you loan? Now, you say, Oko Saudi Arabia. Now, the entire Oko.
Now, information we own.
Me catch you. I'm telling you what this is. My information.
I will prove.
I am an editor of a newspaper. I won't come and sit here and buy.
And you know for a fact, say, Ken Ofori-Atta $5 billion.
He's aiming at $5 billion. That was Saudi Arabia. And it is all pledged to avoid being scrutinized by IMF.
Maminko, hold your thoughts, Mama. Now, Mr. Mahama Hobra. Mr. Mama.
Yes,
sir. Yanina will chrome her. Now, yet say, former President John Dramani Mahama, say, the best bet for the government, BBIU during the on the IMF. Abayan Kasa, in their own estimation, I believe they have enough homegrown policies to be able to withstand the pressures. Now, COVID-19 in Russia, Ukraine war, any other challenges no at the Aba. John Kuma Ekasai, former president, Vice President Bawumia Ekasai, Ken Ofori-Atta himself was very much against going to IMF. Sisiano government, a year U10, because of challenges. Mr. Tamaklo, Etumie Akebi, we are talking about inflation rates. We are talking about your net exporter, Entume Boye, in terms of your export any day buy into the country as a deficit. Other matters such as your high dependence on importation in Myanmar. All of these things have become a challenge. Now, one kasa from where you sit, no, Obeka say decision about taking say IMF no, the right way to go. Despite the fact that one kasa no, in the past when they've told us that any government Obeka IMF no, incompetence, any misappropriation, any mismanagement, any didn't
No, say, I mean, some chair a chief for, and I just for more TV, ETV, and pay. Now, before me call or question, no, maybe I know me TMO. Normally, we have some few minutes, the way I dream before we go to the main topic.
Okay,
but
okay.
That didn't happen. So let me use the opportunity.
Okay.
Let me tear Professor. No, I'm going to comment on more program. Me tear Professor Gachi.
Yeah.
And me tear no, with all due respect, now me doing say I was listening to an NDC communicator now official. The entire Americans was talking about reporting of different figures. Finance Minister or the common IMF, the other call Parliament, and this thing has been said by ND several times. It has been debunked. I don't know why. Government explain why the figures are different.
No, but at that time, government explained. Say why the figures were different.
Exactly.
There was a discrepancy at the time.
Yes,
that's a fact.
Yes. So and IMF, actually, country director then said there was no misreporting. But it is the way the figures, the Omo reporter, because almost say they were taking banking sector cleanup out of the normal expenditure.
That's correct.
And what IMF country director actually agreed, said that was the agreement, said Abaya take it off that one from the normal expenditure normal because that was something that was not budgeted for. So they took the figures were treated differently. That is why it was not like and that thing was even told. It was even a debate on Parliament why the reporting was done that way. Yeah. I don't see why somebody.
No, but now can you see ourselves?
Oh my man, Kasa. When we interview, no, because I know your standpoint on this matter. As some because me too also, and the voices are more boys. So let me have my flow.
Very well. Go ahead.
I'll be okay. The reason why I'm going to justify why I may say. I was hearing somebody like, with all due respect, a communicator and his communicator. No, Sanka say, mismanagement. Now, I buy a G or mismanage. You enter HIPIC. Kufo buy enter HIPIC. No, government came out of HIPIC. Immediately they came out of HIPIC. They went to Eurobond market and borrowed the biggest amount in Africa's history, $750 million. Yeah. And they didn't know what they were going to use the money for. And they borrowed. How can this be said? I think that if he is minded, Uncle Fa 2009 budget, then Finance Minister, Dr. Kobina Dufour, presented on the floor of Parliament, to Parliament, on behalf of late President Mills. What first a book, budget statement now, or how the money was used and how much was left for the NDC administration then to come and use that Eurobond. So I didn't expect the Finance Minister to. And also another one thing Officer Kai and say about this misreporting matter. The only time if there was actually misreporting, I think IMF would have sanctioned government President Akufo-Addo Aban for misreporting. The only time sanctioned Ghana for misreporting happened under NDC. That's history. So let me leave that one aside. Then come to substantive matter.
Okay.
What say former President Mahama say or advise Aban say IMF and Aban paying for Omonko. They will never go to IMF. I want to know time former President Mahama advice say government will have to go to IMF.
The last time was on Thursday.
Yes.
But even before that, a lot of
yes. If you say
NDC,
people,
yes.
If you say people have
finance experts,
exactly, that one totally agree. That one agree. People have called for before budget 2022 budget was presented.
Yeah.
People said they have seen the figures, and figures in the chair said the way our figures in the chair, we should go to IMF for support.
Yeah.
The government then take no boy the finance minister. Dr. Kuma,
John Kuma.
John Kuma on the floor of Parliament. It was during budget debate. an OS argument. And the expectation of government was that, look, we're going to get e-levy alone about 7 billion Ghana cedis. Projected, yes, projection. Budgets are always projected figures. Budget via something now projected. Until our projectors said they were going to get 7 billion Ghana cedis annually. So if we were able to make that amount, then you didn't need to go to IMF. You could, your balance of payment, you could do it with it. And even when later on confusion by government itself did and say the amount was going to be reduced by at least 25%. And now many are some afraid by 25%. Even that the estimates say Omenya at least 4 million billion cedis every year. Now, with that one, Ocean Niama cost for Parliament, the budget was presented in November 2001. November 2001. Ocean Niama
2021.
Yes, 2001. 2022 budget was presented November 2021. And all the figures about e-levy were contained in that budget. And that's where the estimation says Omenya 7 billion. Right?
Yeah.
And a confusion by people were saying, look, and there was argument, and some of us actually agreed, they said 1.75 no, on the buyer, no, it was on the high side. Why not bring it down to 1%? Some people were even suggesting 0.5%. And that would have encouraged more people to buy into the thing. But finance minister and the team, they thought, they were going for it 1.75. And later on, there no confusion in buyer now, they call 1.5. And even there was resistance. And you know how the e-levy was passed. Is now history. And there's no a country be a new or to a tax. There's nobody. I was even joking says may e-levy debate I did to is that for that fear say say almost person almost taxa he would have lost that vote because obia ni we say our better but you are forced to do it. And so when you make noise about a tax policy for 6 months, many months, definitely there will be resistance, abhorrence to the payment of that particular tax. And that was what happened. And eventually it was passed. Now, this thing was that, look, I am now saying why government could not raise that's to my understanding, why they could not raise the billions that they were expecting. Now you go and do it. The vendors agreement, initial agreement was that the vendors were going to charge 0.75. Abanso or no, or need or more negotiate. And by the way, Vodafone they are free.
Yeah.
They are free. But MTN other, they agreed say they were going to charge 0.75. Then Aban the 1.5. So when you add it will be 2.25. Now it counts the whole thing starts. Now vendors now they all become merchants and they are excluded. People now do cash out. Obi a person or say no more no or call a vendor. Or call any vendor, he only pays a service charge to MTN. He doesn't pay e-levy. So how was government expected to raise revenue from it?
Mr. Mama, let me hold you on that point, Kaka.
Yes.
Isn't it in the best interest of government?
Yes.
When you are coming up with a tax,
yes,
you come up with a tax a year robuster, it will be difficult for people to evade.
See, I totally agree. I thought that's why I am blaming government for not standing by what they initially said. That, look, if you do that, if you don't do what you say you are going to do, you will let the vendors charge. If you allow the vendors who are more charging 2.5 in total, 2.25 in total, then you'll be able to see whether people, because people will then be forced to, because when you see the phone now, they call vendor.
But again, people had the choice to choose whether they want to use
on this matter, say,
e-levy
and
or
that, exactly,
want to do more or
we
not.
had this argument on this platform, say, when you do it that way, people will then decide whether, say,
yes.
Ebi or say, Nisika Coca, so 400 Ghana, or fan a car. With the cost anyway, drive your coca, so this cannot come out.
And government knew all this warning said by my government say a lot of people would not want to get onto this e-levy platform.
But if they had implemented what was originally there, they would have seen the real. But that one was jettisoned. And I mean, the argument, you know, if you have said, say, you charge you 2.5, you know, at vendors, 2.5 total vendors, so that when people refuse to go there to do, to send them, then you now sit by and say that no, this is not working. But you decided that no, now the vendors now become merchants. They don't charge e-levy, so people then refuse to use their mobile phones. They then move to the vendors, send their money there without paying the e-levy. So how are you going to? How many people use their phones in Ghana to actually send Momo? It is Momo is done by the vendors.
But data so what you say. Post the introduction of this e-levy,
yes,
a lot of Ghanaians who were doing the transaction with their phones, a lot of them also decided not to do the transactions again. A lot of them pulled out of the e-levy transaction.
So if you had added, that's my argument I'm making, if you had added that one to the vendors, you have seen the actual impact of those, the hesitant rate, those who will not do it. You would have seen the actual impact. Now, majority of the people, Ghanaians, have shifted to the vendors. Because that's where they know they will not pay the e-levy. So are you expect state to pay?
But this e-levy I will come no. Assuming without admitting, say, na Ghana for you now, obiaji atum say ebetia e-levy.
Yes.
You still think government would have been able to bridge that gap, balance of payment deficit? No? You think government would have had enough money to bridge that gap?
If you were going to get about 7 billion Ghana cedis a year for 3 years, how much would that going to be? 23 billion, 21 billion. No, I'm coming. You have asked me a question. Let me answer. If you were going to raise about 21 billion within 3 years, how much are we going to get from IMF if you go there from bailout? When we went to IMF in 2050, do you know how much we got? We got about
a little under 1 million.
940 or less. About 940 maximum $1 million. How much was that? Was it up to the 21 billion that you are going to get? If you do
the value of a little under $1 million at the time, no, and yet the same as any. Based on economic conditions.
I am looking at the current figure of 21 billion.
At the time now you call G1.
It was even less. The value.
And I say at the time I call Hono. What that amount of money could have done at the time, no. If you bring it in today,
you mean that the 21 billion now cannot do what it would have done? Is that your argument?
Yes.
That's your argument.
No, I'm saying that at the time now, your course IMF program, no. What
but
was going to work for government?
Let's even forget about the 2,950. How much do you expect us to get from this? Are you sure we are going to get over 21 billion in the next 3 years if IMF decides that they are going to support Ghana? Is that what you are saying?
Well, government believes, depending on case, government they government is expecting some $3 billion from IMF this time.
Why not? Who told
based on projections somewhere.
Projections, man. When discussions have not even started, they have not even got to projection.
Based on projections,
projection ben Abai. When Abai has not even presented his figures, when they have not even sat, also projection ben.
But that's exactly what we've been able to pick up. So we had data. Okay, our details. Make it details. Make it yourself. Government is expecting, say, government IMF to meet in Asia. This is how much they want to get. This is how much they expect.
And then good luck to our mind. I know some countries have even got over 20 billion. This thing depending on
how you negotiate,
and what your books look like. And so that.
But your books tell us, what debts are standing currently at 391.1 billion Ghana cedis.
So
unsustainable debt level.
So how much are you expecting? That's why you are saying that government expects to get $3 billion.
Government cannot even get more than some amounts now.
I am saying that government may not even get to that amount. And that's why I was comparing what they are going to get at IMF with the e-levy amount. That is why I'm trying to say, to guess the reason why, although more on the floor of Parliament, they will not go to IMF because they were banking their hope on e-levy. And you all heard what government officials were saying about e-levy. And of course, every policy be either the policy succeeds or it fails. There have been policies in this government, in this country since independence. Haven't there been policies? So this may look like a failed policy by government tax measure. That's how I see it. Because if you are expecting to raise about, let's say, 4 billion in this thing, and within your first 2 months, who receive just 50 something, 54 something, less than 60 million Ghana cedis, you know that your target will definitely not be met. And that will bring revenue shortfall. And that revenue shortfall, how are you going to account for it? And this thing about Obisa may say, going to IMF and all that, I don't know. There's been this argument about whether competence or incompetence. This debate has been there. Yeah. Mismanagement or whether the conditions that FAC,
NDC at the time,
it's the same as same conditions. I also had debates now. You see, Obia or we are seeing now, Ben say the conditions are not just the same. The conditions are not the same. You may laugh over it, you may do anything, but the fact of the matter, the only condition that is the same is IMFCC. That's the only condition. But if you look at the other, is the only similarity. But if you look at the conditions, they will definitely Mame Besao 2015 no. And this core IMF. What was the major international crisis we are seeing?
Now, one of the major reasons why they went at the time, no, Dumso was part of the issues. We had spent so much as far as energy generation is concerned. Now, Aban really was hamstrung because of how much capital injection in Nema has sought to make the solve the energy sector problems. No, it was one of the key reasons why to make IMF at the time.
So you realize that Dumso was not a global issue?
To a certain extent.
It is not to a certain extent. It is full extent, not to a certain extent. Dumso was not a global issue and did not affect many countries. It did not. It was our own management of the issue internally. What was it? The reason we gave for Dumso, was that some gas pipeline bestie from Nigeria to Ghana, enter Nigeria gas and power. When it kept on saying, we didn't have money in the first place because of the management. We didn't have money to buy crude to power our generators. We had enough capacity at then to even power because we didn't have money, just simply didn't have money to power the power plants, the thermal plants that we had. That was it. And that was due to management, and that was it. Now come to today.
Now, if it was just that, now,
but if it was not just that, what was it?
Power near American now mobile on stream now at the time. Wasn't Dumso about your lack of capacity added to your grid over the years?
You see,
wasn't it part of the reasons?
When you have Dumso,
no, wasn't it part of the reasons?
It was part. But let me tell you, you are asking me a question. You ask me a question, you don't even allow me to answer.
No, I'm allowing to answer.
You see, the reason why today I know this condition, we know where everybody stands. When President Kufuor faced Dumso, you know what he did? He didn't build. You don't say you want to solve an immediate problem, and you are signing contracts for power to be delivered 2-3 years time. That's not how you fix Dumso if you have money. When President Kufuor, everybody knows the history. When there was Dumso, you know how he did it. My late friend Kofi Ada was you remember, was an energy minister. They brought emergency plans. And that was the problem you heard about. Then Raku Bobo was a VRA boss. He was saying now I think he was exiting from VRA. He had just said toy plans. But those plans now they solved it Dumso then. Because it was emergency, because there was money to manage the Dumso at the time. That's how he did it.
Short term fix.
No, you fix it. You fix it top term. While people have the power, I am telling the reason why we said there was no money. When you fix it short term, now there will be stability of energy for the factory and industries to work. You then generate money. You then generate money for the long term. You don't wait that you want to do long term. Then the industry. Domestic consumption, everything suffers for 4 years. Is that how to manage an economy? So when you fix the short term, then you then plan medium to long term. That's how you manage an economy. You don't wait because you go and sign a contract. that will take you 2-3 years to build, and you say you are fixing an energy crisis long term. What of the short term? That was why we had Dumsor for 4 years. And I'm giving you the difference between how former President Kufuor managed Dumsor then and how former President Mahama manages. Because he thought that you needed power for the industry to work, so that when you finish that one, then you do. That's how come when he managed it that way and former Kufuor was exiting, the economy was able to grow up to 8.4%. Now you say that you want to do long term. Why is the short term suffers? Now the short term suffers for 4 years. Your short term become 4 years. We were doing so for 4 years. Factories were not working. When you came here that time, your generator was on 24 hours, and you were doing shift workers, and your revenue reduced. Industries, job losses, and all that. And you say that this is what best management of the economy. And you want to compare that to COVID, where if he comes in, I will read to you and a number of countries that went for emergency support from IMF because of COVID. Over 100 countries went to IMF for support because of COVID. So when people say that COVID has not done anything, I think that they are either being disingenuous.
Mr. Mahama.
They are either being disingenuous or probably, I don't know how they think.
Mr. Mahama.
Yes. Ask me.
Before I go break, me pese oji asem we home.
Yes.
Granted, the NDC and John Dramani Mahama went to IMF on the back of not managing the economy well. Let's assume without admitting that was the case. And the NPP,
yes,
Nana Danko Akufo-Addo,
yes,
also had to deal with what you call a pandemic.
Yes.
Now, this pandemic, I can't no. In the first year of that pandemic, this was a government that had received or that had been able to mobilize some 18 billion Ghana cedis. During that time, no?
Yes.
Are you telling us, say, 18 billion now you mobilize here, no?
Yes.
It's not Sika and Kabet to me a cushion here.
Moving forward, if indeed,
if indeed,
yes,
they had built a robust economy or they had managed a robust economy, I bet me I will stand here in shock.
See, you are telling me that all the 100 countries that asked for the support didn't build a robust economy.
So let me quote. Let me quote.
No, you have asked me a question.
Maybe let me quote Managing Director, Deputy Managing Director IMF. Or say, countries that have strong economic institutions respond more effectively to crisis and are better prepared for a resilient recovery. And that is true across any level of development.
Okay. Just hold on. I'll also
Did we build
don't worry, but you have read
economy?
You have read yours.
Maybe so.
Let me also read mine. Don't worry. Just give me time. Because it's as I'm not paying me no debate. No. I am just talking about this one to know. Dada Ben I can. Masa.
I just want to respond to that.
You see, let me do something. Let me. You have asked me a question about the robustness of this thing. I will read to you what IMF said. IMF country managing director said, not the deputy. I'll read to you when we come back. No, but I am saying that if you take, we are talking about robust economies. You know when they say Rebecca say UK more robust economy.
Yes.
Rebecca say US more robust economy. Yeah. You know how they are struggling now.
Have they gone to the IMF?
Oh, sir. As for IMF, it is not everybody. Do you know their debt portfolio? Do you know that debt portfolio is IMF the only place for them to go? As we speak right now, do you know their debt portfolio? What are their debt portfolio? Japan has not gone to IMF, but Japan has debt to GDP over 200%.
How are they managing their economies?
What they are managing is about taxes because they are able to generate in taxes to be able to pay their debt. Is that how you are generating? Is it the taxes you are generating?
So if you are not generating taxes as you would expect,
when a government, you will not be able to generate a tax.
Then that's a government.
Then that's
a government.
You see, I do not see. You see.
And play me
No, he's not playing. He's debating me. That is why he's not hosting today. Today he's debating me. That is why you are not coming in. He's debating me because before I came.
I would rather say he's
No, he's debating me.
No, I don't want Mr. Mama I don't want Mr. Mama to put things out there.
He's debating me.
Or the two hosana na akoya to say mejano.
Because meaning will stance. Because me by own argument. Oh yeah, no meaning will stance
on this matter.
You are talking of because you, if you are remember, you need only Fati there was disagreement between only Fati about the effect of 2015 global crisis, if there were any, and effect of COVID and Ukraine crisis. You disagree with her, so I know your stance. That is why you are asking me these questions.
My name is Mr. Tamaklu Dinkomokaka. Mr. Tamaklu. The NPP says the minority in parliament did not give them the chance to be able to accumulate revenue. Now, to me, at their so economy now, because of e-levy in Sensema cost. So 6 months, now still no stalemate in parliament. Again, they also argue, what transpired under the NDC in 2015, IMF was purely down to mismanagement. But under this circumstance, NPP call e-levy, call IMF down to COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war.
Yeah, it's a lazy man approach, a lazy man excuse for troubled times. Look, who can say if I will veer off a little Bible, time I say a friend say, ensure be after month for so they were giving excuses after excuses after excuses. Yeah, about we buy you. It was one excuse after the other. Look, at least he was talking about Mama Abai. Now a friend say Dumso Abai. They look ahead and purchase power plants. Okay, they acquire power plants. When they came to me, he was saying that they didn't purchase power plants which they could use to solve the problem temporarily.
Don't misquote me.
I'm coming.
Don't misquote me.
They bought power plants that were to be used and are being used now. We hear the Ameri plant is being relocated to Kumasi.
Did you listen to me?
That was a visionary government.
Let me explain to you more.
Please,
no,
can I finish? So they look ahead and say, look, this is a country, this is not MPP NDC. We want Dumso to be solved. So they bought this power plant, which the MPP came to meet. So they didn't have to buy power plants. Now, on top of that, they have borrowed over 200 billion. Externally. And all that money they have borrowed, so it means they are not putting it into some Dumso. The only thing we have seen so far is the free SHS. Apart from the free SHS, nothing, absolutely nothing. Look, the roads. Al-Mahama has been credited for being a project man because of what we see on the road. NPP has not been able to complete a single project in terms of infrastructure yet. Now, so the money they have borrowed, they didn't have to do anything. Then COVID came. As you just stated, they borrowed 18 billion. They took 18 billion. They mobilized 18 billion to take care of the COVID, which means that there was 18 billion to use for COVID. So we cannot be crying about COVID problems because there was something to use for it. Now, even the COVID, apart from what they will say containment of the COVID from spreading and all that, the 18 billion had gone just like that. We are told that there's about 5 billion that we need to even top up to meet this. So why is the problem? What are they crying for? Why is COVID an excuse? Now, when COVID was no longer an excuse because people are putting holes into that, they jump, Ukraine, Russia. Putin has bombed Russia. So Ghana is in a total problem. We have to try and resolve that. without that, we have to introduce e-levy to make up for the Putin bombing of Russia, bombing of Ukraine. So, as to how much it costs, look, he was talking about Mahama, instead of adopting temporary measures to solve what's the name? Dumso, so that the factories can work and bring the money. He decided to take the long-term measure. Now, when you came and didn't meet any long-term measure or temporary measure to meet, what factories have you built? What factories worked, and how much have you accrued that you have had to borrow so much? You see, this kind of argument, this kind of debate that from the information minister, the finance ministry, the flagship house of the president and his vice, all giving the same line of excuses of why we have come to IMF. I mean, the ridiculous parties to suggest that you have gone to IMF because there is an international problem, some international problem, Ukraine, Russia, and COVID, and that Mahama did not have to go to IMF because there was no COVID. I mean, it's so petty, so silly to think about, and I cannot imagine for the life of, look, even under the Dumso, I have heard, I watched the information minister's Twitter page yesterday when he said that he has been told about the hardship in the country, he can see it. I mean, Mr. Mahama, we know how much Kenke was sold when in 2015, 2016. We know how much fuel was sold. Look, the hardship is real, and it has been attributed to Russia, Ukraine. Hardship is real. It's been attributed to COVID.
But
Mr.
Tamaklo,
this IMF.
Meko break aba, but meko break ba, maybe say question back. And question me pese odwin wan sana makwaba. Now, wouldn't it be fair, say, Obama aban credit kakra say. Na opese or rule out e-levy, say nebeya, obe bridge gap no kakra, obe receive revenue, because revenue generation is a problem. Now, odwin the initiative by say e-levy, but it was frustrated in Parliament until you know how it went. Again, Aban, apart from 18 billion or mobilizing, Aban still is telling us, say, oh, here more revenue, send a beya, or bet to me a cushion Ghanaians, or bet to me a manage economy, a sustain economy, no, because a bano ne debt repayment in India, it's to me a forfeit and your money now. And say, Janina, who impact of Russia, Ukraine. Wouldn't it be fair, say, a bunch of argument, say, and no, and our costina, I said to me, call IMF Abba. When you question, I'm a person, Udrian, because my babak, Obama may answer. Yes, and
Russia, Ukraine,
you're better than your own Kakaya Babaka. The Happy Morning Show continues. This is still the Happy Morning Show. We are live on Happy 98.9 FM. We're also live on ETV Ghana. Jumedia no air the Happy Morning Show. Once again, Sisia and I'll do with Fidi to Hadia and Mamenka will say discussion here at around 5:30. Sisia and the discussion also IMF Aban Edinini Ache Senebeya. Balance of payment support ebeba from the International Monetary Fund, because Ghana BBI drew at the moment say Mbwa and me I'm back from IMF economy no benya issues prepare challenges I face economy no it could get worse, and then you know president say finance minister on starting formal engagement with IMF for balance of payment support. Until before we went for a break no. Now I was explaining the position of government with regards to why they had to go to IMF, and part of it, COVID-19 and Russia-Ukraine war induced. And maybe Sanu say, to be fair, no, wouldn't government be right if they are saddled with all these challenges at this very crucial moment? And also, no, if government decided, say, now, or per se, e-levy ba, send a bay, I bet you may receive revenue kakra to be able to bridge the gap. Now, minority, stampede process now. Then you know, Aban, semka in terms of saying, say, Nyama wenyina na epese di go akwan to be able to boost the economy and to give the economy a boost, but nyama wenyina mo ama ne nyina nkoso. And to be fair no, Aban will be right to say indeed challenges are facing no induced by certain factors beyond their control.
Who can say MPP Aba, a party led by Akufo-Addo and Bawumia, before they came to power 2017? Mushe Ghana football. Say, so Muji Abaina, Petron to him will be a thing of the past. They said they will arrest the dollar. You heard that?
Yeah.
They said that they did not have to take loan, that yetisikasu. Now, the money is here. We didn't have to go for any loan. They said, I recall Akufo-Addo said that he is an old man. So he doesn't need Ghana money for anything. He's not going to steal from the public purse. Now, when they came, I'm sure we all know how much they have borrowed up to now. We know the corruption issues. We know how government is unable to account for many things. And so if we are talking about e-levy having had challenge of passage in parliament, we should be fair to those who oppose it. One, by saying that, look, the government had failed to account for the monies it had borrowed. And so a responsible citizen wouldn't allow the government to just go taking taxes in the name of taxes because it wanted it, or it said it needed it. They could not. They were stealing money left, right, center. And so it was responsible for those who criticized e-levy and who stood against it to challenge the government for it. And that is what led to how they went for the e-levy. They used all manner of means to get the e-levy passed. And the result is what we have seen. Look, how much was going to come from e-levy and how much have they borrowed? How much was going to come from e-levy and how much have they borrowed? Let's forget about the mechanisms that did not go well and failed policy as he alleged and all that. How much, look, you are going to tax people. The money, obviously those who don't have money won't pay the tax. If you don't have 100 cedis, you can't send 100 cedis. You need to do some work to make the money to send, and then the e-levy get deducted. Infrastructures, the facilities, look, they came and laid a lot of people off jobs. This banking sector collapsed. You know it. How many people have been laid off? And it affected companies. How many people have lost their job as a result? So you expect them to do e-levy. Where would they get the money from? And in all this, the family and cronies, family and friends companies are doing very well. We know how much Kenneth Freitas Data Bank was indebted prior to the coming of his government. We know how much Enterprise and Co's books were. Go and look at it today. Go and look at the properties that they have bought all around. That is money going well for family and friends. Ghanaians are suffering now. And who was going to allow you to just throw in some e-levy and expect to get bounty from it? It wasn't going to happen. And look, this e-levy and all this is like I said, a lazy man's excuse.
Because we're not concerned about the fact that because of Russia-Ukraine war, no, a lot of countries have been hit one way or the other. Yes, COVID, Russia-Ukraine war, a lot of countries have run to IMF for bailouts.
Have we been told how much was screamed off the public purse to take care of COVID? Have those countries faced the same thing? They faced their own challenges head on. They had their money, whatever money it was, to take care of those things. And if today people are going to Brazil and all those things, I mean, are you going to be comparing yourself to countries that have not, done well? Are you going to compare yourself to them? We live in a country, we know how much we were paying for fuel pre-2017. We were paying 14,000 for a gallon. Today we are paying 51. Tell me if we can attribute that to Ukraine and Russia.
World market prices have gone up since Russia-Ukraine war started.
It affects our oil prices. We are an oil-producing country, aren't we? We are producing oil here. Before Mahama left, the revenue that they were getting from oil was far less than what this government came to meet. And these oil funds were prepared by the Mahama government. So you came and made this revenue. What excuse do you have to give?
So you believe, so you believe strongly that it is mismanagement, that has driven us
mismanagement,
to-
corruption, incompetence, and all you can attribute to it. It's a lazy government, and that's why we are going back to IMF.
Mr. Mama,
Yes.
listening to Mr. Tamaklo, I think he's laid the facts bare. I mean, to a certain extent, he's been able to state why the government cannot use the excuse of Russia, Ukraine, and COVID-19. No, Mr. Mama. No,
No, I'm asking.
he has
looking for support.
He has laid his claim. And I'm asking, sir.
And do you believe in what he has said?
From what you say.
You said he has,
No,
to some extent, he has laid a claim.
To
It
some
means
extent.
that you have- Okay.
To some extent, he's been able to. He's been
to
able
justify
to
why
justify
it is
why
not
he doesn't
it
believe
is not
it is
it
not
is not
COVID-19
COVID.
and Russia
It is
and
not-
Ukraine. From where you sit.
Okay. I was looking for something to read.
Yeah.
This is a World Bank IMF managing director. He said,
Well, my friend.
he said half of the world's countries have approached the International Monetary Fund for emergency loans to weather the fiscal crisis sparked by global coronavirus pandemic.
Okay.
More than 100 countries so far have asked for emergency assistance. That's Kristalina Georgieva, IMF's managing director, told a meeting of G20 finance ministers and central bank governors on Wednesday. Now, she said the IMF is ready to use its full toolbox and $1 trillion firepower of lending capacity, noting that 10 countries have so far received emergency funding and half of the remaining countries should receive their requested financial by end of April.
Okay.
I'm saying that she said comments come after the fund issued a stark warning that the global economy is on track for the deepest downturn due to coronavirus.
Okay.
So if you sit here today and you tell me that coronavirus has not affected any country, including Ghana, when the people we are going to, they themselves admit to say, over 100 countries have come for assistance due to coronavirus. Then you got the
But I didn't
listening
say
public.
that. I didn't say that.
No. Oh.
I didn't say that.
But did I
I
say
said that
but,
there was a
but did I
statutory
say you
fund.
said that?
There was a statutory
Am I
fund, you
responding
put
to
money.
you? Am
Of
I
course,
responding
yeah.
to you? Am I responding to you? I'm talking to viewers and listeners. So I'm saying that anybody who is in Ghana and saying that all these over 100 countries have gone for assistance because of coronavirus pandemic, and World Bank IMF managing director is saying it, and you sit in Ghana saying that it has no effect on world economies, then it's up to the viewers to judge.
You know why?
Mr. Mama, hold on, man. Mr. Mama,
Yes.
post Yemfane say, let us assume say.
Let's look at let's look at pre-pandemic.
I'm going forward.
Let's go back.
No, Mr. Mama,
if you I want to justify why you cannot take out COVID.
Let me go forward. Let me go forward.
No, why won't you allow me?
Let's go forward. COVID-19, Yenim said, is going to stay with us. Russia-Ukraine war, Yenim died.
No, have we finished the fact that COVID has affected many countries, including Ghana?
You've made your point.
Okay.
You've made your
Then
point
let's go
brilliantly.
ahead. Let's
Now,
go ahead.
me say, COVID may not end anytime soon.
Yes.
We may have to live with it.
Yes.
Russia-Ukraine war, we don't know when it's going to end.
Yes.
Ghana is going to IMF.
Yes.
We've been to IMF 16 times. This will be our 17th time.
Yes. And by the way,
Clearly,
the 16 times now you're calling, By the
it
way,
is-
the 16 times you hear calling, PNDC and NDC have gone 10 times. Since 66. PNDC has gone 10 times.
So, having been
The
the
16
16th
times, so
time,
you look at who has
going
gone
the
to IMF.
17th time with the macroeconomic indicators,
Yes.
is going to IMF the BL and end all for the economic crisis I facing.
It may not. It may not. And I listen to some of these things because I am a social, even though I'm a social science person, I am not a finance person. I listen to people when things like this happen. And I listen to former finance minister, Tepe, on this matter. And he is warning that even though we are going to IMF, I listened to him on Saturday on another station. If Russia-Ukraine war doesn't end very soon, Ghana and many countries will be in deep trouble. He has been there before, and he's telling us, me, who I am, who am I? Or my very good friend to me say, whom am I? To sit on this platform, say that Russia-Ukraine will not have an effect on Ghana's economy and many others. When or no a finance minister or say if your Russia-Ukraine war doesn't end very soon, Ghana will be in deep trouble, even with IMF support.
What is the way
so
forward?
what the way forward is for us to, like people like Professor
Gachi
Aka. Oh, as for Gachi, he spoke like NDC communicator. Hey. Professor Aka, he said, he's saying that he is opposed to us even going to IMF. Even today. He said we can generate resources from within. And how do we generate resources from within if we don't pay our taxes? Look, the IMF that we are going, people contribute IMF. People contribute. We are a member. We've been a member since 1956, 7 or so. We've been contributing that to IMF. People show up the reserves through taxes. We go to borrow. The borrowing we've been doing over the years, amount for taxes. We can only do that when we pay our taxes.
Are Ghanaians not paying taxes?
What is the tax to GDP? What is a revenue generated from taxes as compared to others? We are doing about 12% of GDP. Others are doing 25, any 30. What are we doing? We are paying taxes. And I always say that when we pay our taxes, let's insist on how our taxes are being used for. That's the only way. Yeah. We will insist on how our taxes are being used for. But you cannot say you will not pay tax and yet expect.
My name is Tamaklu. There's this argument that going to IMF Nankasano, one of the ways Ebeboa government as far as bringing in more revenue, because a cheap loan facility a long period of time to repay. And people have also argued, say, IMF Nankasa to help member states send a beya or best send in your into going to IMF dear Ankaya depa.
As for going to borrow money, he was talking about countries which have gone for low debt for portfolio and all that. Your ability to pay is very important. Your ability to pay back is very important. Look, this government went into statutory funds set up by Mahama and took out money. Free money, you don't have to pay.
What's statutory funds? Now, okay.
Your funds
Yes, the Heritage Fund. They took money from it when the COVID pandemic started. The first thing a converter shouted, "Hey, there's money here. Let's go for it." And they went for that money. It was free money. They were not supposed to pay back anybody. What have they done with it? So it's the credibility. The guys in charge, they don't have the credibility to manage our funds. So as for going for, how much have they not borrowed already? Nobody has problem with that. It's the credibility to manage that fund properly. That is why we are where we are. When you borrow and you go and share without thinking of tomorrow, you will come to the point we are now. And so when Tekpe said that if the Russia-Ukraine doesn't end soon, the situation is going to deepen, it is because of the characters we have in charge of the economy.
And the other characters in other countries. Okay, Mami, closing remarks.
Okay, closing remarks quickly now.
Director, the government borrowed 80 billion. And so 18 billion.
Mobilized. Yeah.
No, mobilized, sorry. Yeah. 18 billion. And what they use the money for? How much, you didn't ask us how much went into COVID expenditure? Over 12.12 billion went into COVID expenditure.
What is COVID expenditure?
Now, COVID, first of all, you take it to
you want to know the corruption.
By the way,
do you really want to know it?
But there will be a parliamentary probe. Finance Minister has presented the facts.
They have a parliamentary probe.
There's a bipartisan meeting. Two committees are going to do.
You don't want to know.
I want to know.
You don't want to know.
I want to know.
Mr. Mama.
You should have said it on the show.
Mr. Mama,
no, I don't want to know.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining me on the show this morning. Mr. Tamaklu Medase, for joining me on the show this morning. Apologies. Discussion we have part 2. be part 2. It's a part 2 no. Maybe sure say there are a lot of issues we're discussing. Thank you very much for joining us on the Happy Morning Show this morning. Yeah, the BBS say Otome Ebeka and San or pay Ewo Jumedi no so from 5:30 no yede Jumedi no esi 9 a.m. anope. Nyame adoma ochina yebesan so atenase ebobo nsema ekoso ewo Ghana any other matters arising from IMF Ghana yede yeni echre. Enti Mamenda BBS once again. Yebedani ehun kakra na up next on Happy 98.9 FM Happy Sports or Hene Bampo Brenya and the rest of the team they'll take over from us. Now ETV Ghana so back continue the programming. Until we meet again, God willing, tomorrow morning. My name Raymond Nyamado. Be good and have a super day.